Welcome back to the channel. This is Trendy Storm and you are watching first part of What If Naruto Was Raised by Kyuubi from birth. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
The hidden leaf village of Konoha appeared to be without hope. Today was October 10th, the day Kyuubi no Yoko attacked the village, a day that will never be forgotten. Third Hokage Namikaze Minato whispered, "Kyuubi, why now? We could have stopped the Uchiha together," and the Sandaime Hokage, Sarutobi, thought, something must have pushed Kyuubi Sama to the brink. Minato collected his courage and left. From his chair in the Hokage's office, Sarutobi stood up. As he looked at the bundle of blankets in his arms, he saw a newborn blonde boy. "Minato, you're gonna use it?" The 20-year-old Hokage sighed. "N. That's how old I think he might be. Don't flame, K. Yeah, I'm gonna use it. I may have to bargain with the Kyuubi about my son." Minato grinned piteously at his only child. Minato disappeared in a yellow flash after saying, "Okay. Sarutobi, I'll see you in the afterlife." When he arrived on the battlefield, there were wounded ninja and innumerable dead bodies. Minato gazed at the enraged fox that was moored above. Biting his thumb, Minato sighed. "Kachiyose no jutsu." The ninja saw the person on the toad's head as a puff of smoke and a gigantic toad appeared. "It's the Yondaime, he's arrived." The crowd roared, sending their spirits through the roof. Kyuubi snarled when he saw this. "Namikaze Minato. Why? Why won't you let me kill them? They took the life away my only kit. The Uchiha must pay." Minato merely sighed. "I'm sorry, Kyuubi Sama, but it has to be done. I'm the Hokage, and it's my responsibility to protect the Konoha people." Minato got the seals ready. Shiki Fujin. After watching in horror as the Shinigami materialized, Kyuubi felt his soul being drawn from him. Only the two could hear Minato's voice then. Kyuubi's eyes widened as he said, "Kyuubi, I've got something to ask of you." He owed Minato a favor because he respected him as an unmatched shinobi. "Anything, old friend." Minato grinned. "I'm giving you only your yang chakra. My son here will have your yin chakra. I want you to take care of him, raise him as your own child, or kit." As far as the demon lord was concerned, Kyuubi was honored. With a smile on her face and a white light surrounding the Kyuubi, Minato said, "Request granted, I'll raise your child to be a force to be reckoned with." "What is the child's name?" Minato asked. Minato's final remarks were, "Uzumaki Naruto." Together with his good chakra, the Kyuubi then went on to vanish. The following day, the child must not be allowed to live. He holds the Kyuubi inside of him. He's a demon, he must die. Sarutobi leaned back, amazed that baby Naruto was able to sleep despite the council's yelling. "Enough," he roared as he calmed the council. Hyuga Hiyashi cleared his throat and said, "Now, I'd like your opinion one by one, starting with Hiyashi. This child is my friend's son. The Yondaime was an unparalleled shinobi. I will not sully his name by murdering his only son, who is just a newborn." Sarutobi grinned because he was aware that during the Iwa Konoha War, Minato had saved a battalion of Hyuga and saved Hiyashi's wife from a Kumo.nin kidnapping attempt. One Fugaku Uchiha said, "Well, I for one claim that it should die. He's the Kyuubi incarnate, and no doubt that he has no other living relatives, or guardians. That just further proves my accusation." Hold up. Everyone's attention was drawn to a man with long, nearly glowing red hair and matching eyes who appeared to be in his early 20s. He was dressed in a Konoha Jonin outfit, had whisker marks on his cheeks, was 6 feet flat, and had authority. Only Sarutobi knew who it was. Thus, Kyuubi did agree in the end. When Kyuubi approached the council, everyone saw his fox fang necklace and sharp claw. Like nails. The bandage wore. Hawk Danzo interrupted the Uchiha to say, "I'm Naruto's legal guardian." Yokumaru. Checkmate. "Excuse me, but have you any proof?" Yokumaru grinned and said, "I have the Hokage's word, right Sarutobi?" Gee? The council gave the Jonin a crazy look and he simply addressed the elderly Hokage. Sarutobi gave a nod. "Yes, Minato himself instructed me to leave Naruto in Yokumaru's care." The council was astounded. Even council members were powerless to challenge the Hokage's word. A defeated Danzo said, "All right, we'll sign the papers." Yokumaru grinned, Fugaku's mouth hung open, and Hiyashi's eyes narrowed. His aura isn't particularly menacing, but I've never met him before, so I'm not sure who he is." When the Anbu-Back.Ops escorted Yokomaru to his new home lair that evening, he used his keen hearing to listen in on the infant in his arms and the vile glares the villagers directed at him. Why is that handsome man with that demon? The demon's life is unbelievable. The Hokage was thinking, what the devil? I'm going to kill that bastard, infant or not. At least they'll think I'm his father when he joins the ninja academy. Kyuubi smirked as he looked into the child's eyes and saw that he had the same whisker marks on his cheeks. Kyuubi had increased his killing intent enough to make the villagers flee. When they got there, Kyuubi walked in and got the key from a shorter Anbu wearing a dog mask. Yokomaru was sent inside the basic 2-story home, which had 2 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, a living room, and a half kitchen. Kakashi bowed and said, "Thank you for taking care of my sensei's son, Yokomaru-san. Take care of him." "Thanks, I will." Yokomaru grinned and shut the door, gazing up at the ceiling. "I will protect you, kid. I will never allow anyone to hurt you. Go get him. Death him. Get that scum from the demon." Again, a 6-year-old blonde boy was fleeing from an enraged mob. He detested being chased around without cause. It was unjust, and he didn't do anything wrong. After running to an ally and reaching a different side of town, the mob quickly followed, and Naruto started to sniffle. "Chan, where are you?" he asked himself, thinking that his adoptive father, Yokomaru, also known as the Demon Fox of Konoha, was out on a mission and would return tonight, while his beloved son was being pursued for an unknown reason. A man stepped forward with a pitchfork and yelled, "This is for the fallen." Naruto stumbled and fell, his legs giving out, and he turned to face the crowd. He was terrified because no matter how hard he trained with his father or how many training sessions he endured, his fear would always wear him out. When the blow never came, Naruto closed his eyes and looked up to see a man with long red hair that almost gave off a glow blocking the pitchfork with his hand a few inches away. He then turned to face Naruto and asked, "Are you okay, son?" Yokomaru asked. Naruto nodded. Then Yokomaru turned to face the villagers, his killer intent facing their way. "Leave," he said in his Kyuubi voice. Needless to say, the villagers scattered. Yokomaru turned and picked up his son. He held him close as he heard soft whimpering. "Come on, now, don't cry. If you do, how will you be able to be Hokage?" Knowing that being Hokage was Naruto's dream, he said softly that he would help him achieve it. Naruto stopped sobbing and choked out, "Oh, okay." Yokomaru grinned and said, "Okay, let's get you home." Yokomaru then shunshined away. Later on in the day. "Hi, Naruto. You have your first day at the academy tomorrow, so get some rest." Yokomaru yelled at his son, "I'm too excited to sleep, so I can't." Naruto answered back. It was true, the little blonde boy couldn't wait for the academy. He couldn't wait to show off his dad to the teachers and kids. He hoped he would also make some friends, since he doesn't have any. "Come on now, kiddo, you need sleep to become Hokage." There was silence after that. Yokomaru grinned because he enjoyed using that line on his son because he always got his way. The following day. Beep, beep, beep. Gosh. It's the day. Stopping his alarm clock, Naruto stood up, stretched, and picked out his clothes, which weren't much considering how his dad Kaden ate all of his orange clothes that a shopkeeper, generously, gave him for free. And jumped into the shower, changed, and went downstairs to find his dad drinking coffee slowly while wearing a bathrobe. Sweat dropping, Naruto said, "Come on, Chan. Get dressed quickly because we'll be late. Look, kid, I know you're excited about becoming a ninja, but it's just too early in the morning, and also I have another A-rank assignment today. I need my quiet time in the morning," Yokomaru said, squinting his eyes. "Something's wrong with that kid. He has too much energy in the morning." Kyuubi sighed and took a sip of his coffee. Frowning, Naruto said, "It's only 6 a.m. Yokomaru grinned and said, "You're usually up until 8 or 9, so I need my peaceful, zen mornings. I'll be ready by then, and the academy teachers will be too," Yokomaru continued. Naruto whimpered and went into the living room to switch on the television. Stupid Chan, stupid academy, stupid Trojan commercial. At 8 a.m., Chan, have you finished yet? Shouted an impatient 6-year-old. Yokomaru hurried out his room, adjusting his Hite.8, and slipping on his Jonin vest, turned to the boy and sighed. "Shall we go?" I'm not even sure why Minato put up with such ignorance, but Yokomaru's murderous intent was directed at all the villagers who dared to stare at the two as they walked. They were all bastards. They were the last to arrive at the academy, and when they walked in, everyone was quiet. The kids and their parents just stared at the two of them as they entered the classroom, and they were thinking a variety of things. He's so hot. That's Konoha's demon fox. I hope that boy is the first to perish because the demon and its father have arrived at the academy. My brother spoke highly of this man, so it's really awesome to meet him in person. I have to make his son my boyfriend because he is so adorable. Sasuke-kun is far more attractive than the two of them put together. Cha. Difficult. I swear I smelled something animalistic from that man's scent, but I can't quite place it. He smells funny. Naruto-kun is here. Alright, don't faint, don't feign, don't faint. Hello students and welcome parents, I'm Farito Rivere, and I'm the instructor for the next 3 years. So why don't we start off by introducing ourselves? Said a man with green eyes and long blue hair as soon as the father and son had entered. Let's start with you. A girl with dark blue hair caught everyone's attention and simply eeped, "Anyo. I'm Hinata Hyuga, and this is my mom, Akikyo Hyuga." Naruto gazed at her a while. Despite her cuteness, she lacks confidence. Farito said, "Next," and a boy with raven black hair got to his feet. "I'm Sasuke Uchiha, this is my brother Itachi Uchiha." Sasuke made all the girls who weren't captivated by Naruto fall in love. Uchiha was growled at by Yokomaru. As the list progressed, they made stops at Sakura, Shino, Kiba, Ino, Shika, Cho, and a few unnamed children. She sat down smugly and eyed Sasuke, who ignored her, before saying, "I'm Sakura Haruno. This is my mother, Kira." "Okay. Demo. Blonde. You're next." Naruto shot up, and Yokomaru followed next. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki. And this is Yokomaru, my dad." More women saw hearts in the eyes of the Jonin when he smiled. "Okay. Parents, you can go now." All of the parents rose and departed, with the exception of Yokomaru, who shunned. "Okay. Kids, today we'll talk about." Since the boy next to him already knew the basics of the academy, Naruto chose to speak with him. "Hey, your name is Sasuke, right? You want to join me for lunch today?" The boy beside him asked, nodding. Sasuke nodded and grinned, saying, "Yes, of course." "Hey Sasuke and Naruto, listen up." When Naruto discovered Sasuke alone at a table during lunch, he smiled and moved to sit next to him. Sasuke turned to his new friend and began, "Hey Naruto, Mad Dad told me something about you." Naruto knew where this was going, but he retained his smile and turned to face Sasuke. "Really? What was it he said?" Naruto scowled at this, but Sasuke looked up and said, "Don't worry, I don't listen to my dad anyway, and besides, he probably thinks your father might be one considering he's Konoha's demon fox, the man who slew over 400 enemy nins with his mysterious red chakra." The Uchiha turned to face him, sighed, and looked at the ground. He said, "You're a demon, and I shouldn't associate with you." This time, Naruto grinned broadly and said, "Thanks, Sasuke." Sasuke. Kuun. Kuunn. Naruto. Sasuke picked up his tray in a panic, forgetting his apple juice, and the boys went wide-eyed as a swarm of girls approached them. "Naruto, before they catch us, let's leave." Naruto stood up and turned to him, asking, "To where?" "When we hurried to the restrooms, we barely avoided them." Panicked, Sasuke exclaimed, "Run for it, it doesn't matter." When the boys saw the fangirls and fanboys approaching, they rushed outside and knocked over other students who were eating outside, saying, Sasuke. We're completely screwed." When Naruto saw a hand in the woods and signaled for them to follow, he grabbed Sasuke's shirt and followed it to the woods. When Sasuke turned around, he saw the group of girls heading in the opposite direction. Sasuke dabbed at the perspiration on his forehead. Phew. When Naruto looked up, he saw a girl with dark blue hair and pale lavender eyes. Her intense blushing didn't help either. "Thanks, True enough, Hinata." Finally, Naruto said, and Sasuke turned to face the girl and got to his feet. "Thanks for your assistance, but where are we?" Nodding, the boys grabbed their trays and trailed behind Hinata. Anyo. There's a circa clearing ahead, we can go there to eat." When they got there, they saw a large open area with numerous trees moored above. It was the ideal place to hide. The first to speak up was Naruto, who said, "This place is amazing. Sasuke, we would undoubtedly lose those fangirls. But that's only if Hinata allows us to." Sasuke nodded. "But that's only if Hinata lets us." Hinata nodded uneasily. "It's okay. Why you guys can hide here for L. Lunch. Naruto was jumping up and down with joy. Hi Hinata. Chan. Thank you so much. With a gleeful shout, Naruto called out to me, Hinata. Chan. Hinata fainted, a faint smile on her face. The three of them went to class together after lunch, arriving last, to avoid the fangirls and fanboys. Two girls rushed up to them as they entered the room, ignoring little Hinata. One of them, a blonde girl with blue eyes and purple clothing, was attempting to talk to Naruto, while the other, a pink-haired girl with a huge forehead, was attempting to speak to Sasuke. And where was Sasuke-kun? You were missed. Indeed, Naruto-kun. Were you injured? Speak up. Both of them yelled. Sakura and Ino sighed in frustration as Naruto and Sasuke turned to face them and said, Sorry, we didn't hear you just now. Hinata laughed. Hinata, forehead, pig, Naruto, and Sasuke. Make your way to your seats. Naturally, they all sat down when the teacher yelled, with Ino and Sakura in the back and Hinata, Naruto, and Sasuke in front. When Yokomaru arrived at the academy to collect Naruto after class, he said, Naruto, let's go. He called. Naruto waved goodbye to Sasuke and Hinata, and caught up with his dad. On their way home, they talked about their day. And that cat was back. I had an A-rank mission to catch a cat, and that was the same cat. Yokomaru sighed as Naruto laughed. How was your day? Naruto grinned and said, I made a lot of fangirls and 2 friends today. When Naruto mentioned the fanboys, Yokomaru laughed at the contempt in his voice. So, what are the names of your friends? Sasuke Uchiha and Hinata Hyuga. Oh no, Uchiha. I bet Fugaku set Sasuke up to kill my son for that fucking Mangekyo. Observing his father's scowling expression, Naruto shot him a questioning glance. 2. Chan. What's the matter? When Naruto asked, Yokomaru turned to face his son and said, Oh, it's nothing. On the inside, he had a plan. I should get Naruto to invite his friends over and have Fugaku and Heishi bring them so I can find out that Fugaku assigned Sasuke to look after Mangekyo. Beep, beep, beep. Kuso, cursed a 6-year-old boy, who woke up groggily, rubbed his aching head, and got dressed for the day. When he came downstairs, he saw his dad drinking coffee in bathrobes. Naruto sighed. 2. Chan, I'll see you in 9, I'm so tired, and then went upstairs to sleep. Seems like my special training wore off, because Yokomaru laughed evilly. No jutsu in the flashback. Today, son, we'll learn taijutsu, and advanced weapon training, mainly swords. Naruto and his father were outside starting their training regimen. The boy leapt up and down. Yada! He yelled with joy. Yokomaru laughed at his son's mischievous behavior and said, I'm going to teach you the Skyfang, Kenjutsu and Heaven Valor, Taijutsu. He threw a wooden sword at his son, who caught it and glanced up at his 2. Chan. Skyfang comes from the spirit. You channel your very chakra into your attacks, such as the ones you'll learn down the road. I'm going to spar with you today, teaching you 3 fundamental attacks. Blade Dance, Hawk Stroke, and Blue Moon Buster, as well as effective stances. This is the only taijutsu stance for Heaven Valor, which is similar to the Hyuga's Gentle Fist, except you don't channel chakra into Tenketsu, instead using chakra to attack the parts of the body in which it's directed to, Naruto said, looking up as Yokomaru assumed a taijutsu stance following their Kenjutsu training. I'm going to spar with you now, so at least try to hit me with an attack that uses chakra enhancement. Kai. Yokomaru thought, next time, he'll reconsider disturbing my quiet time. Naruto sat down between Sasuke and Hinata as soon as he got to the academy. Nay, Sasuke, Hinata. Chan. Naruto began, with the 2 facing him. My dad wants you guys and your dads to come over our house tonight. Sasuke arched an eyebrow. What? Why? I dunno, he said, and Naruto shrugged. Come on over, please. Sasuke nodded while Hinata sheepishly nodded. Great, then I'll see you all later. During lunch, with no sign of Naruto-kun or Sasuke-kun in sight, Ino and Sakura fled the schoolyard in terror. Ino hurried to Sakura outside. There is no sign of Naruto-kun. She yelled, and Sakura grunted. Sasuke-kun is the one we should be concerned about, not Naruto. Naruto-kun is the one we should be concerned about, Ino sighed. Sasuke-kun. No, Naruto-kun. Kun Sasuke. Naruto-kun. Grr. It was long after lunch when they began pushing and then pulling each other's high. Children's laughter, meanwhile, could be heard throughout a remote location. Hinata finally burst out laughing and remarked, "That's a funny story, Naruto-kun. I swear they left a huge trail of piss behind them." Sasuke laughed at the mental image of the villagers soaking themselves before fleeing, and Naruto continued to laugh until he turned to Hinata and asked, "Hinata-chan, do you have any amusing stories?" A tiny frown appeared on Hinata's face as she said, I'm sorry, I don't have any stories." Naruto grinned and said, It's okay Hinata-chan, it doesn't matter." Hinata continued to smile and said, "Thank you, Naruto-kun." The class moaned, while others cheered, as the teacher strode into the room after lunch and cleared his throat, silencing the kids. "Everyone outside, today we'll be sparring." The teacher handed the students cards with numbers on them as they emerged from the building. "All right, kids. Find the person who has the matching card and locate a field. Those cards represent the people you will be sparring with." After receiving a card with the number 6 on it, Naruto glanced around to see if anyone else had it. He noticed that a girl with bubble-gum pink hair had also received the number. Ignorantly, Naruto walked over and scratched his neck. Sakura turned around and narrowed her eyes as he said nervously, It seems I'm your opponent," she said matter of factly, Faye, you'd better go all out, you'd need every ounce of strength in that puny body of yours to beat me." With a raised eyebrow, Naruto said, "Puny? You're shorter than me." Sakura paused, then glanced up at him, realizing that he was taller than her. They turned to their teacher as they arrived at their field and said, "All right, class." Sakura grinned at the blonde and said, "The rules are easy. Use anything you have as long as it doesn't seriously harm your opponent. Get ready to be completely humiliated by me in front of Ino.Pig. I'll make you look foolish in front of the entire class," Naruto said with a laugh. Sakura tightened her jaw. "All right, get started." Sakura ran forward to Naruto as he assumed his Heaven Valor Taijutsu stance, and he waited as she approached. "I got you now." Sakura, seeing the attack, used a minor genjutsu on the field, and she charged in front of Naruto, trying to punch him in the face. When he suddenly blocked the attack, he smiled and said, "You shouldn't try to use flashy genjutsu on me, that won't work." Angrily, Sakura attempted to throw another punch, but Naruto shifted his head slightly, and he swept the girl, bringing her down roughly before he placed his foot on her stomach. "Yailed," he said, and Sakura did exactly as instructed. Sasuke smirked, Hinata cheered, and the others laughed at Sakura's misfortune. "What a complete B." "Ach!" she threatened. Naruto shrugged and entered the classroom. After winning his match, Sasuke entered the classroom and approached Naruto. The two of them exchanged high fives and smiles. "How was your match?" After a few more minwatas and a few games of tic-tac-toe, Hinata entered smiling and said, "Hinata-chan." That loud-mouthed Yamanaka didn't stand a chance, Naruto said. "Have you won?" Hinata ran over to Naruto and smiled. "Hi, I defeated Kiba." While Sasuke flashed his trademark smirk, Naruto grinned proudly. Naruto was also pleased that Hinata had gained confidence following the match. Finally, the day came to an end, and Yokomaru was there as usual to collect his only son. "Chan." Yokomaru laughed as Naruto yelled, "Hey there, Kit, how was your day?" As he rushed up to embrace his father, Yokomaru ruffled his son's hair and said, "Hey, you know in the shinobi world, gender doesn't matter, so don't worry about it." Naruto smiled and said, "Thanks, I won my sparring match, but I wouldn't call it a win since it was against a girl." The parents of Sasuke and Hinata-chan promised to arrive at our house at 7 o'clock. Yokomaru grinned and said, "Well, I suppose we'll have to shorten our training. That is, we'll take a shower, clean up, and then be prepared for our guests at 4 o'clock. Naruto then pumped a fist into the air. "Yash, come on, let's go." 7 o'clock. Naruto leapt from the couch to answer the door as soon as the bell rang, saying, "Hang on, I'm coming." He yelled at the door, and when he opened it, he saw two black-haired men staring down at him. "Hey, are you Sasuke's father and Hinata-chan?" Sasuke and Hinata entered carrying sleeping bags after they both nodded. "Hey, Hishi-san, Fugaku-san." Hishi nodded. "My daughter talks a lot about Naruto. I was a little unsure considering they met yesterday, but she insisted." Fugaku, HMPHED, "My kid wouldn't stop nagging me, and it'll be great to have him out of the house while I train Itachi." The two clan heads turned to see Yokomaru approach the door and say, "Thanks for letting the kids sleep over at our home." The children nodded and left to watch the two as Yokomaru narrowed his eyes and turned to them. "Hey, You three go and watch some TV, I need to talk to Hiyashi-san and Fugaku-san. So, Fugaku, what's your game, Yokomaru said, crossing his arms. What are you talking about? Fugaku raised an eyebrow as Hiyashi turned to face the council member. Hiyashi's eyes widened as he said, you know what I'm talking about, Uchiha. The venom in Yokomaru's voice caused a cold sweat to roll down Fugaku's face. The Mangekyo Sharingan. You're trying to get Sasuke to obtain by killing Hinata or my son when they become his best friends. Fugaku, is this true? As much as I want your child gone, I didn't have Sasuke kill your son in order to get the Mangekyo, he said, to Fugaku's laughter. Sasuke is a failure to the Uchiha and doesn't deserve such a strong Sharingan. I already had my son Itachi kill his best friend, Shishui of the Shunshin, in order to obtain the Mangekyo. Fugaku smirked and said, if that is all you want, I'll send someone to get Sasuke at the end of the week. Now if you excuse me, I'm late for a meeting. Hiyashi turned to the Jonin and bowed, I'll bring Hinata home as well by the end of the week, my wife will pick her up then, farewell. Yokomaru growled. Teme. Fugaku grinned again. With a soft sigh, Yokomaru shut the door. Teme Uchiha asked, what is the purpose of the Mangekyo? Those damn eyes, the eyes that killed my kid. He turned to face Naruto, who was playing with Sasuke and Hinata. I won't let it happen again. After 2 years. Get up, Naruto. Naruto had slept in again, Yokomaru yelled. He's been doing this a lot lately, Yokomaru said. He went to his son's room, kicked open the door, marched up to Naruto's sleeping form, and hit him with a pillow. Needless to say, this caused Naruto to wake up. Naruto gave his father a sleepy glare and said, damn it, 2-san, I was about to get up, you know. Yeah, right, Yokomaru sighed. Now, Kit, get your ass up. I'll have to give you a body flick there. 12 minutes after nodding, Naruto went downstairs to take his private shower. Clad in a black short, sleeve shirt with an orange trim and black pants with orange cuffs, Naruto approached his father and said, "K, I'm ready." Yokomaru nodded, seized the 8-year-old, and body flickered away. Sasuke and Hinata were waiting for Naruto to arrive at the academy when, seemingly at the same moment, a big puff of smoke appeared, and Naruto and his father showed up. Oi, Naruto. Where have you been? You see, an elderly woman needed assistance crossing the street and Sasuke yelled, while Naruto scratched the back of his head. Lair. Yokomaru perspired as the entire class yelled, Naruto, I won't be home for 3 days because I have an S-rank mission that involves guys in black cloaks and red clouds in the area. Kind of strange, huh? In 3 days, I'll see you. The body of Yokomaru then flickered away. Hey, Hinata. Chan, how are you today? Naruto grinned at her as he sat in his seat between Sasuke and Hinata. He inquired. Hinata grinned. She had become more aloof since her mother's passing a year ago, but she is now starting to smile again because of Naruto and Sasuke, mainly Naruto. Hello. Students, said a man who was a chunin with brown hair, brown eyes, and a scar across his nose. I'm Haruka Amino, and this man here, he said, gesturing for a Hite.8 with silver hair to enter, who was a scrawny looking chunin wearing a bandana. Is Mizuki, so why don't you all introduce yourselves, and mention your objectives, etc. He continued until he came to a halt in front of a girl with pink hair. Haruka observed that the boy in question did not answer. I'm Sakura Haruno, my likes are, she says, blushing as she turns to face Sasuke, who is speaking to Naruto across the room. And hanging with my friends, I dislike Ino.Pig and Naruto. Baka. Ino, however, huffed. And my goal is to become the wife of, she says, blushing as she turns to face Sasuke. Haruka gave a nod. With a tick mark on her head, Sakura said, so you like blushing, you dislike Naruto and Ino, and you want to get married to blushing. Okay. Ino laughed. So, this, Ino.Pig, is next. Ino gave a grunt. She gave Hinata glares while activating her new Byakugan, saying, I'm Ino Yamanaka, I like Naruto.Kun, and I dislike any girl who is close to him. When she brashly declared, oh, and forehead. My goal is to make Naruto.Kun my husband. The Sasu fangirls, HMPHED, and the Naru fangirls gave her death glares. Okay, so the Uchiha is next. Sasuke's throat cleared. Haruka laughed at Sasuke's embarrassed outburst. My name is Sasuke Uchiha, and I enjoy spending time with my friends, Naruto and Hinata, and I detest the presence of obnoxious fangirls and homosexual fanboys. Sasuke sat down and returned to his sketches of a chibi Sasuke standing over an unconscious chibi Itachi making the peace sign. And my goal is to beat my brother Itachi in a spar, and get my dad to acknowledge me as a Uchiha. Okay. The blonde won. Naruto took a seat. Glaring at the blonde, Naruto turned to Shikamaru and said, I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and I like my 2-san, Hinata, Chan, and Sasuke. My dislikes are those troublesome fangirls. With pride, he declared, my goal is to be Hokage. Sakura laughed as the Naru fangirls swooned. Naruto poked her with a finger. Hey, what's so funny? Sakura laughed. Sasuke sneered as she asked, what makes you think a loser like you would be Hokage? Hinata nodded unconsciously, you won't be saying that when he does become Hokage. Sakura stumbled. The Sasu fangirls nodded in agreement, indicating that whatever Kami Sasuke says is correct. W. Well, if you think he'll become Hokage, Sasuke.kun, then I think so too. Iruka laughed. Okay. Miss Hyuga. Hinata pressed her index fingers together as she stood. Anyo. I'm Hinata Hyuga. I like hanging with my friends, Sasuke.kun and Naruto.kun. I dislike people who hurt others because of what they are or what they think they are. My goal is to be acknowledged by my father and... Hinata started to blush. Someone else. Iruka shot up and made a loud announcement just as he was about to say that the Inuzuka would be next. He gave Naruto death glares as he worked with Sasuke on a comic book collaboration. I'm Kiba Inuzuka. I like training with my super cool nin.dog, Akamaru, and I dislike a certain blonde. He said. Akamaru yipped in agreement as he gave Naruto another glare while he was showing Hinata a comic page, which caused Hinata to giggle. My goal is to win the heart of a certain girl by beating the crap out of her love interest. Iruka scowled a little and turned to face Naruto, who was sketching a comic panel while Sasuke was giving him instructions on what to write in the speech bubbles. Iruka clapped his hands after history class. Class, how many of you know jutsu? With the exception of Naruto, Sasuke, Kiba, Sakura, and Ino, hardly anyone raised their hands. Hinata, why didn't you raise your hand? You know jutsu. Anyo, I don't know any ninjutsu. Naruto grinned as he whispered to her, and Hinata pressed her index fingers together. Hinata grinned and held up her hand, saying, Taijutsu and Genjutsu are just fine, you don't have to know ninjutsu at all. Oh, Hinata, I see, well class, follow me. They went to a big tree after Iruka and Mizuki. Iruka's throat cleared. At that point, Naruto held up his hand and said, now, I want you to practice your jutsu on either the tree if it's ninjutsu, me if it's genjutsu, or Mizuki if it's taijutsu. Yes, Naruto? Iruka inquired. Unlike the other teachers, Iruka knew full well that Naruto was the jailer and not the demon. He did not despise him for possessing the Kyuubi. Iruka's eyes grew wide as she asked, what if we know kenjutsu? Naruto nodded when Iruka asked, you know some kenjutsu? Why don't you hand him a wooden sword? Iruka turned to Mizuki. Good luck, Naruto. Mizuki nodded and gave Naruto the sword while forcing a smile. I'm going to have to burn that stick after class, because it has demon all over it now, he said. Iruka said, okay, Sakura, you're up. Sakura approached and smiled at Sasuke, saying, watch me, Sasuke-kun. She approached Iruka and asked, so, you know genjutsu? Sakura nodded. Well, show us. She used a genjutsu that wasn't particularly ostentatious, but it gave the impression that Iruka was a kid. Kai. Iruka called as the children watched Iruka transform into his adult self. As Hinata approached Mizuki and activated her Byakugan, Iruka grinned and said, okay, Hinata, you're next. Mizuki staggered to the ground and was struck by Hinata's legs. Hinata bowed and said, ah, the Hyuga-style taijutsu, well done. Iruka called out to the boy, Kiba. He smiled at the Hinata, glared at Naruto, and ran up to the tree. He looked up at it before turning to face the class. Whoa, I don't know a single just you, consider. Using the just you, he transformed into a nearly nude woman, her parts concealed by a layer of smoke. Iruka had a nosebleed, and Mizuki appeared unimpressed. He faced the class in desperation and ran through random hand seals. Iruka struck Kiba on the head as he was changing back. Idiot. Don't ever use that jutsu again. Kiba's misfortune caused everyone to laugh. Iruka adjusted his position. Sasuke? He inquired. As he got closer to the tree, the Sasu fangirl faction cooed at him. He then shouted and went through some hand seals. Kaden. A flaming ball. Iruka gave him a pleased look as a tiny flame erupted from Sasuke's mouth and scorched a section of the tree. Good job, okay Naruto? Naruto grinned as he turned to face Hinata. He then passed Sasuke and they exchanged low high fives after he said, "Wish me luck." Mizuki raised an eyebrow as Naruto turned to face her, pulled out the wooden sword, and assumed his Kenjutsu stance. Think of Lang from Legaia 2, Duel Saga. He whispered, the Skyfang Master stance. Mizuki guarded while Naruto executed a simple move. Skyfang Art. Buster Blue Moon. Halfway around, he arched his sword and swung full force at Mizuki. Mizuki staggered backward. Iruka exclaimed, "Very good, Naruto." Naruto then created a ram seal, and 5 copies of himself appeared. The original smirked. Jutsu Iruka, a shadow clone, was taken aback and gazed at Naruto in wonder. As Sasuke grinned, everyone's eyes widened. "You know Naruto, I could give you the graduation X en route now." Naruto said, "Sorry, but no." Iruka nodded in comprehension. Naruto went straight home after class, but Sasuke's brother, who had just returned from a mission, walked him home after Sasuke told him about his day. When Sasuke said, and then he turned him down, just like I thought he would. Itachi smiled at him, which is never common. "I see, he's becoming quite the prodigy. It must be because of Yokomaru's strict training." Sasuke grinned. "I remembered when Yoko-san trained with Hinata and we barely had the energy to even open our eyes." Itachi laughed. Suspecting something, Itachi activated his Sharingan as they arrived at the compound and saw that there were no guards present. As they made their way to their home, they gazed in horror at the bodies of their family members who had been brutally murdered. "Sasuke, we need to be cautious." Itachi shielded his brother's eyes. Whimpering, he asked, "Itachi, why is everyone dead?" Itachi shook his head. He lied and said, "I don't know." Then they heard a scream that split their ears. Sasuke shouted, "Okasan," and hurried to his house, with Itachi trailing behind. When Sasuke got there, he saw his mother lying in a pool of blood, and he and Itachi rushed to her. Itachi put a hand on her neck and shook his head, saying, Ka-chan, please, wake up." Sasuke wept over her dead body and said, "She's gone." Then Itachi turned to dodge a kunai that was headed his way. "You can come out now, father." When Sasuke looked up, he saw his father wearing battle armor, covered in blood, and Fugaku grinning. His sword had been dulled from cutting through so many bones. Well, Itachi, as expected by my own son," Fugaku said, turning to face Sasuke, who was looking terrified. Once more, Fugaku grinned and said, "Dad." "Why?" As Itachi pulled out his Anbu sword, Fugaku moved closer, saying, "They wouldn't follow my orders, so I killed them all. Save you too." "Sasuke, head outside, now." Itachi quickly followed, dodging kunai as they ran, and Sasuke dashed outside. They both reached out, but Fugaku's new Sharingan, which resembled a pinwheel, caught them both with its piercing gaze. The Mangekyo Sharingan. Itachi muttered as Fugaku materialized before him, grinning malevolently. "You made a mistake by not activating yours. Tsukuyomi." Itachi collapsed to the ground, gasping for air, and Sasuke turned to face his father anxiously. "What did you do to Itachi?" he asked. Fugaku gave an evil smile. "You'll find out soon enough, Tsukuyomi." Sasuke collapsed, sobbing and muttering gibberish to himself. Fugaku smiled. "You hate me, don't you?" "Yes. Live with your hatred, hate me, despise me, hate will make you stronger." Itachi stood and said, "No," and gave Fugaku a look. Sasuke listened to everything he said and muttered, "Hatred will get you nowhere, you'll be consumed by it, you'll be nothing but a shadow of your former self." "That's correct." Fugaku gave a HMPH. With his left eye bleeding, he closed his eyes and said, "I don't have time for this." Itachi then activated his own Mangekyo, and he grabbed Sasuke and started to run, both of them using their technique. Amaterasu. Itachi covered his bleeding eye as he deactivated his Sharingan, and although his vision slightly worsened, it was largely undetectable. Black flames reacted with other black flames. People were shocked to see Itachi running crazily through the town with an unconscious Sasuke, who was running to a specific house on the outskirts. He knocked on the door, and a blonde boy opened it, staring at him. "Itachi? What happened, and why is Sasuke shaking?" "Naruto, take care of Sasuke. I need to go to the Hokage's place. Where is your dad?" "He's on a mission." "Damn. Okay, I'm off." Without considering avoiding the office, Itachi drove off. After being called off his mission due to an urgent matter, Yokomaru went to the Hokage's office and saw Itachi, who was panting heavily. Yokomaru said, "Itachi, what's going on?" He was gestured over by the Sandaime. "Yokomaru, Itachi and Sasuke will be living with you, allow me to explain." The Yokomaru grew increasingly irate as he listened to this tale. Yokomaru yelled, "That Teme! How could he do that to his own family?" Itachi's head dropped. He was angry that the Uchiha didn't want to go through the coup d'etat. Fugaku snapped and stormed out of the compound. "I believe he sought assistance by Madara Uchiha." Yokomaru laughed. "Hey, that old bag of flesh is still around. I know I should have killed that piece of shit when I had the chance." Itachi's eyebrows went up. Yokomaru sighed, "You ran into him before, Kyuubi, Sama." "Don't call me Kyuubi, Sama. Anyway, he and I fought 9 years ago. He provoked me by killing my kid. I went mad and tried to kill him. I failed, so I chased him to Konoha in a blind fury, you know the rest." The red-haired Kitsune looked at Itachi. He started to leave but stopped, saying, "I got wary of you and Sasuke because I thought you'd have come in contact with Madara because I sensed Madara's influence in Fugaku." Itachi went and took hold of his arm, saying, "If he is out there, Sasuke and Naruto need to awaken their bloodlines and tap to their fullest potential." "What do you mean? Naruto has a bloodline. And you know the only way for Sasuke to unlock Mangekyo is to..." He turned to Yokomaru. Itachi gave the Hokage a nod before he vanished in a cloud of smoke. "Is to experience extreme sadness. You never had to kill your closest friend, and for Naruto, his bloodline is the Kaguya's." Naruto turned to face Sasuke and scowled as they watched TV together. He said, "Hey, you okay?" Sasuke took a whiff. He gazed down at the ground and cried, "I can't believe this is happening." Sasuke saw that Naruto was breathing heavily and said, "It's okay, man. I know it hurts. But your family wouldn't want you to live in the past, so you should move on. For there, Sasuke said, "Naruto, what's wrong?" Naruto began to perspire heavily, collapsed to the ground, and turned his back on him. I can't move." Naruto choked, and Sasuke noticed 2 red dots on his forehead. For the time being, he ignored them. "Naruto, you're burning up." Sasuke started to panic and was unsure of what to do. The door suddenly opened, and he hurried to see Yokomaru and his brother there. Itachi said, "Sasuke, what's wrong?" Sasuke indicated Naruto's location. "He's having a fever, and he has these 2 weird red dots on his forehead." Yokomaru grinned. Itachi nodded as Yokomaru ran to his son, who was unconscious on the ground with red spots on his forehead. "His bloodline has awakened. Itachi, take Naruto to his room. Sasuke, go to bed, you need rest after what has happened today." Sasuke gave a nod. When Naruto woke up the following morning, he felt as though his body weighed more than before. He got out of bed and showered, but when he saw 2 red spots on his forehead in the mirror, he became alarmed and hurried downstairs to get dressed. He ran down to see his dad, Itachi, and Sasuke at the breakfast table as soon as he got downstairs. According to Yokomaru, "Naruto, you're up." Itachi shook his head, asking, "What's going on? What's with these dots on my forehead?" Naruto appeared shocked when he said, "Yesterday night, your bloodline awoke." Naruto and Sasuke both yelled, "B. Bloodline?" Yokomaru gave a headshake. "Okay, outside." Outside. Itachi and Ikumaru stood opposite Naruto and Sasuke, who stood side by side. "Okay, we don't have time to explain the whole story, but I'll make it short. A great evil is coming and you two have the power to stop it. Sasuke's Sharingan and Naruto's newly discovered bloodline, Shikatsumiku, or the Dead Bone Pulse." Naruto's eyes widened. Yokomaru grinned and said, "Wow, what does it do?" The world's fate was in Naruto's hands, and he was wide-eyed. The Shikatsumiku allows you to use your bones as weapons, and you can also regenerate and harden your bones as well. However, you can't use jutsu for a week since your chakra coils need to readjust to the bloodline. Naruto scowled at this. "So after school, you'll learn to use your Kekkei Genkais. We're gonna train you two to the brink, and you two will be the saviors of the elemental nations." Naruto and Sasuke had left. "All right, get your asses to school," they said. "Sasuke-kun, Naruto-kun." The fangirls glomped Naruto and Sasuke, causing them to panic. "Sasuke-kun, are you okay? Sorry about your clan." "Naruto-kun." those dots on your forehead are so kawaii. Get in your seats. While Sasuke and Naruto sat with Hinata, the girls dispersed. Hey, Hinata. Chan. You won't believe what happened, I got a bloodline. Limit. Hinata cracked a grin. Sasuke cut in. That's great Naruto-kun. What's it called? Despite his desire to brag, Naruto nodded and scowled. We can't tell you, you'll find out on your own, okay. While said boys conversed with Hinata in their secret location during lunch, the Sasunaru fangirls were frantically searching for their Naruto-kun and Sasuke-kun. Hinata said, Sasuke-kun, are you okay? Sasuke grinned. Naruto grinned, and Hinata turned to face him, blushing. I'm fine, if it weren't for Itachi.ni and Naruto, I would have gone crazy and hell-bent on revenge. Naruto asked Sasuke, what's your bloodline called? And he nodded. It's called the Dead Bone Pulse, Shikatsumiku. Hinata's eyes widened. Naruto shrugged and asked, that bloodline is from Whirlpool, what's it doing out here? My dad says my mom was from Whirlpool, so I must have attained it from her. Hinata gave a nod. The red dots that were previously absent from Naruto's forehead caught her attention. Naruto prodded the dots and asked, Naruto-kun, where did those dots come from? Well, I woke up with them after my terrible fever. Oh, Naruto-kun. Are you okay? Nodded. Hinata laughed at Naruto's frown and said, yep, I'm fine. Except I can't do jutsu for a week. Not that I knew any besides Shadow Clone and some D-ranked futon jutsus. The boys were picked up by Yokomaru and Itachi after class. Itachi saw them. Yokomaru smiled. I hope you guys are ready for training. After 5 hours. Their training was harsh and unforgiving, but it had advantages. Naruto learned some new moves involving Skyfang using his bones as a sword, and Sasuke and Naruto gasped as they staggered inside the house. Activating his two-tomo Sharingan, Sasuke battled his brother until he was about to die, a prerequisite for obtaining the Sharingan. Wiping his forehead, Sasuke uttered, I'm exhausted. After Naruto nodded, the door suddenly flew open, letting a Hyuga run in. Yokomaru rushed in, asking, what's going on? As the Hyuga gasped. Naruto yelled, Cloud. Nins. Kidnapped Lady Hinata. The Hyuga turned to face him. What? Where is that Teme Kumo Nin now? After saying, he's probably passing the memorial stone now. Great. I'll catch him. Naruto drove off. Naruto! Exclaimed Yokomaru. Damn, Itachi, Sasuke, follow them. At the monument, the bag in the Kumo Nin's hand started to wriggle as he grinned at it. He kicked the bag until it stopped moving and said, damn kid. Oh, I might have killed her. What? He turned to see a boy with pupils in slits in his deadly red eyes. He had 2 red dots on his forehead, blonde hair, blue eyes, and dark whisker. Like marks on his cheeks. He mumbled, you bastard. I'll kill you. The boy's red chakra exploded, and the Kumo Nin landed on his ass. What is a Kagaya doing here, and what is this red chakra? He gasped. With a bone sword in hand, Naruto sprang to his feet and charged at him. The Kumo Nin barely stopped the attack with his kunai. The blonde leapt up and struck him across his face, leaving a large scar in his wake when he tried to leg sweep Naruto. The Kumo Nin threw a powerful wave of thunder at Naruto, knocking him back and sending him crashing into a tree. My face. You little fuck. Raiden. Thunderclap. Naruto fell into the blissful realm of unconsciousness. When he opened his eyes, Naruto saw that he was looking at a white ceiling and questioned whether this was heaven. However, he also noticed that he was carrying a weight, and when he turned to face it, he saw a head with midnight blue hair. He pushed Hinata awake, thinking, I'm in the hospital. He uttered the words, Hinata. Chan, wake up. He thought he heard her say something like, Naruto-kun, don't die. Please. He saw Hinata's eyes open, and as she turned to face him, Naruto grinned. Hayate glomped him, her eyes welling up with tears. Hi. Did you miss me? She asked. She began sobbing over his shoulder, and Naruto put his arms around her to comfort her. Oh, Naruto-kun. I thought you wouldn't wake up. This is all my fault. If I didn't get captured you wouldn't have been hurt. He whispered in her ear, I'm sorry. Sasuke, Itachi, Yokomaru, and Heishi were revealed when the door flew open. Yokomaru approached to give his son a hug. Yokomaru bucked him on the head and said, Naruto, you're okay. He yelled, ow, what was that for? He shot back, you deserve it. Hinata grinned and wiped away her tears. Then Heishi approached her daughter. Hinata nodded and turned to face Naruto. "Hinata, are you okay?" Heishi asked. Naruto gave him a sly smile and said, "I have to thank you to help save my daughter." Naruto glanced at Itachi and said, "No thanks mentioned." Itachi clarified the situation by asking, "What happened after I was knocked put?" Although Hinata shook her head, Naruto said, "I can't believe Hinata's uncle's dead, I'm sorry." "No, it's me to blame, Naruto-kun. No, I'm the one to blame, it's my fault I let that ninja in. My brother died because he couldn't stand to see Hinata sad, he took my place in the offering, I did nothing about it." "Stop." Everyone looked over at Sasuke. "It's nobody's fault, okay? If it's anyone's blame the Kumo nins." Everybody gave a nod. Naruto said, "So, when do I get out?" Yokomaru said, "As soon as Heishi checks your chakra coils." Heishi nodded. "Baikugan," he said, looking at Naruto's chakra coils instead. After turning off his white eye, he faced Yokomaru. With an arched eyebrow, Yokomaru said, "His chakra coils are fine." Hinata glanced up at the red-haired Genin and said, "Well, it seems the red chakra healed your coils." She said, "Red chakra?" Naruto shrugged. "I inherited my dad's chakra, and..." As they all headed home, they made a stop at Naruto's house. Naruto and his companions bid the Hyugas farewell, and Hinata approached Naruto in particular. She flushed like a crazy person as she gazed at the floor. Naruto grinned as she said, "Thanks for saving me, Naruto-kun." Hinata blushed as she looked up at him and said, "Thanks, it was nothing." She then gave him an unexpected peck on the cheek and hurried to meet up with her father. Hinata-chan just gave me a kiss. Naruto touched his cheek and said, "I just kissed Naruto-kun when it hit Hinata." It goes without saying that Hinata smiled as she passed out. Naruto. Sasuke. Wake up. Every morning, this was the sound emanating from the Uzumaki home, but today was unique since Naruto and Sasuke were graduating and becoming fully qualified ninjas. Naruto and Sasuke have been inseparable since they moved in together. They are now like brothers. Yokomaru, the demon lord who became a father, is still Itachi's older brother. On that subject, Yokomaru stormed into his son's room, grabbed Naruto, and shook him awake. Naruto managed to say, Da. Dad, I'm up. Page P. Itachi also gave Sasuke a shake. Over the years, Naruto has evolved. He now dons a black kimono, orange pants that cover his lower shins, and black ninja sandals. Sasuke was dressed in blue pants, a black undershirt, a white coat with the Uchiha fan on the back, and matching ninja sandals. Itachi was back downstairs in his Jonin attire when the two arrived, and Sasuke approached him. Itachi nodded when he said, "Hey Itachi. You're going to be a Jonin sensei." "Yes, there hasn't been much excitement since I left the Anbu, and I don't mind teaching the future generation of shinobi." Naruto approached and gave a nod. Turning to his other brother, Sasuke nodded and said, "Hey, Sasuke. We gotta go." "K, let's go." Yokomaru's body flickered to the door before they left, when he said, "Naruto, Sasuke." The boys focused on him. "Don't show off during the exam, do the bare minimum to pass, got it?" "Got it." When they arrived at the academy, Naruto glanced around to make sure Sasuke wasn't being followed. They both entered after Sasuke nodded and said, "Coast is clear, no fangirls in sight." 2 steps inside. Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun. Holy she. Their 2 biggest fangirls, Sakura and Ino, glomped on them before they could finish. Naruto-kun. How are you today? Sasuke-kun. Did you get a new haircut? Help. One of the academy instructors, Iruka, exclaimed, "That's enough." Ino and Sakura immediately became agitated and stalked away. Naruto sighed and thanked Iruka in private as he and Sasuke approached the top row next to Hinata. Naruto let out a sigh. "Hina-chan, why didn't you help us?" Hinata laughed. "I didn't have time to react, so I didn't bother." Hinata laughed as Naruto ruffled his hair angrily. "Okay, class. I will call you up individually. You will go into the other room and take the exam, so let's start with Shino Aburame." Without saying a word, the boy named Shino got up from his seat and went into the other room. A short while later, he returned with a Hite.8 on his forehead and sat down again. Naruto thought, creamy. One by one, the students entered. Some had Hite Atesh on their faces, while others had an expression of sadness. Iruka said, Sakura Haruno, you're next. Sakura leapt out of her chair and faced Sasuke. Wish me luck, Sasuke.kun. Sasuke turned to his annoying fangirl and said, sorry, did you say something? As Sakura entered, a tick mark appeared on her forehead. Shortly after, she entered the room wearing a Hite.8. She smiled at Sasuke and gave Naruto a death glare, to which he simply returned the glare. Hinata Hyuga, you're up. Naruto placed a hand on the Hyuga heiress' shoulder as she squeaked when she was called up. Hinata flushed and said, Hina-chan, you can do it, I know you can. Naruto smiled and said, Thank you, Naruto.kun. With a leaf Hite.8 around her neck and her head held high, Hinata returned to the classroom a short while later and approached the table where Sasuke and Naruto were seated. Naruto exclaimed, you did it, Hina-chan, and Sasuke gave a nod. Iruka said, Kiba Inuzuka, come on up. Kiba approached, glared at Naruto, and smiled lecherously at Hinata. Kiba went straight to Hinata after entering with his brand new Hite.8 a short while later. So what do you think, Hina-chan? Pretty cool, Naruto yelled and gestured at him. He grinned smugly and said, Oi, I'm the only one who calls her Hina-chan. Naruto scowled at him and said, Yeah? Says who? Says me. Kiba chuckled. Yeah, says the guy who has the dots on his forehead. I thought someone was pointing a laser pointer at your head. Kiba experienced a slight headache as a result of Naruto's teeth grinding. No one insults the dots and gets away with it. Sasuke stopped Naruto before he could punch him. He activated his 3-Tomo Sharingan and said, Hey Kiba, get your loser ass away from us, unless you want to keep those arms of yours. Kiba swallowed. Let's go Akamaru. Sasuke was next while that whole argument continued. The homosexual fanboys and Sasu fangirls swooned when he was called up, and Sasuke winced at the way the fanboys were licking their lips at him. Sasuke Uchiha, you're up next. Do not make eye contact, do not make eye contact. After a short while, Sasuke entered the room and displayed his leaf Hite.8 to the class. Naruto turned to face him as he approached and sat down. Sasuke nodded in response to Naruto's question, so did you do the bear minimum? Yup. 3 shadow clones, easy Naruto smiled. Iruka looked up at him and said, Naruto Uzumaki? Naruto nodded, stood up, and entered the room. He saw Iruka who had just entered as well as the chunin instructors as he entered. He grinned as he turned to face the blonde Kagaya. Okay, the requirements to pass the class are simple, do a henge, and make a clone. Naruto gave a nod. Mizuki gave him a look as they talked. Because of his awful chakra control, he can't pull off that clone and will undoubtedly fail. Mizuki's mind didn't register the fact that Naruto can do shadow clones. Okay, transform. Naruto appeared exactly like Iruka. Iruka nodded and smiled, saying, okay, now show us 3 clones. Naruto smiled and changed back into Iruka's image. Iruka exclaimed, Shadow Clone Jutsu. As 3 solid clones appeared out of thin air. Well done. I expected nothing less from Sasuke's brother, good job. You pass. Mizuki raised his voice. He pointed a finger and exclaimed, wait a second. Naruto didn't even make a clone. Mizuki. We went over this already. Shadow clones are just the same as regular clones, except they are solid. If any academy student can make a shadow clone is good enough to pass. Mizuki was furious because his plans had fallen through. All right, he exclaimed. As his teacher handed him his Hite.8, Naruto chuckled. The academy instructors looked at him and asked, what's the matter? Are you sad that your plans went down the toilet? Plans? Inquired Iruka. Naruto smiled. You'll have to ask the Hokage about that, he's been eyeing Mizuki for a while. After class, everyone was outside discussing ninja related topics, including how they believe they will be able to go on risky missions now that they are Genin. When Naruto and Sasuke looked up from their seats to see Itachi waiting for them, chewing on some Pocky, they watched with laughter as Anbu dragged Mizuki away. They approached him, displaying their Hite. Atesh. Naruto exclaimed with pride, see, we passed, and we did the bare minimum. Itachi grinned. Good job, how about we go to Ichiraku's to celebrate? Sasuke and Naruto nodded merrily, at the stand selling ramen. Itachi laughed as he saw Naruto and Sasuke engage in a competition to eat, with Naruto emerging victorious. Naruto yelled, another bowl, please. To Tucci, the ramen bar's owner. Coming right up, he exclaimed with delight. Sasuke gave Naruto a scowl. Naruto shook his head, saying, I swear, you must have 5 stomachs. Instead, nope, just one big one. Itachi grinned. A fresh voice said, cute, isn't it? He turned to face the voice and flushed. The girl was the most stunning thing he had ever seen. He tried to conceal his blush as he said, right, it is. Ayame laughed. Itachi attempted to turn his gaze away from the girl and asked, true, so what's the occasion? They passed their Genin exams. Ayame clasped her hands. She said, that's wonderful. As he watched Sasuke fall in defeat, Itachi nodded. Itachi's smiles weren't unusual, but this particular one was strange. Naruto and Sasuke were unable to ignore this. Sasuke said, nay, Itachi. Why are you smiling so much? It's frightening us. Itachi glanced forward and bit his pocky stick. Nothing, it's absolutely nothing. While his brother Sasuke was already at the Hokage's office, Naruto accelerated his pace to ensure he arrived in time for his photo shoot. He saw Sasuke leave the mansion as he arrived. Hey, Sasuke. Did you get your picture taken yet? He inquired. Sasuke gave a nod. After saying, cool, I'll see you down in a bit, he entered the building. He saw Hinata coming down the stairs as the blonde entered. The call came from Naruto. Hey, Hina-chan. Hinata blushed as she looked up. She said, Ohio, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled. Hinata nodded and asked, so, you got your picture taken? Great, so anyway, what team do you think we might be on? Hinata gave him a look, but I truly want to be on your team, Naruto-kun. Anyo, I was hoping to be on Kurenai's Genin team, she's been like a mother to me. Grinned and nodded. Hinata looked up and said, I was personally hoping to be on Itachi, Nissan's squad. Naruto nodded and asked, Itachi-kun will have a Genin team? Naruto waved before heading up the stairs, saying, yeah, and I'm really hoping I'll be on his team. But anyway, I held up enough of your time, see you later. Hinata turned, saying, oh, Hina-chan. Hinata obviously had something to think about when she left the mansion. You should save it for winter or going on missions up north. You shouldn't wear such a heavy coat like that in the summertime. Naruto asked the Sandaime to speak and asked everyone to leave his office for a moment after he had his photo taken. The elderly Hokage took a seat at his desk. With a nod, Naruto replied, so, Naruto-kun, is there anything you want to talk about? It's about my bloodline limit and my inheritance to the Namikaze estates. Leaning forward, Sarutobi muttered, I'm listening. Okay, I'm asking that you make sure my being a Namikaze secret from the public until I make chunin, and also my bloodline will be made public that day as well, since I'll be using it in the chunin exams no doubt. Sarutobi drew on his pipe and smoked. Naruto smiled as he asked, and what makes you so sure you'll be chunin by the end of the exams? I'll make sure of it, and I'm pretty sure the council will have my back, like it or not. He stopped grinning when he brought up the council. He told the council that his bloodline limit was the last of its kind in the world, and they wanted him to inherit his biological father's wealth as soon as possible. Sandaime nodded, but they would get off his back if he told them this. Naruto shrugged in response to the old Hokage's question, so what about the Shikatsumiku? He stated matter of factly, it won't be the Kagaya bloodline anymore, it'll be the Namikaze bloodline. Sarutobi gave a nod. I'll talk to the council, you'll have nothing to worry about. As Naruto nodded and turned to leave, something unexpected happened. With a shuriken in hand, a young boy rushed in and exclaimed, all right old man, today is the day I defeat you and become Hokage, before collapsing on his face. As though inquiring, Naruto turned to face the Sandaime. Who is this brat? Sarutobi mouthed. Konohamaru, my grandson. Naruto turned to face the boy who was now rising and nodded. He looked up at Naruto and exclaimed, hey, you tripped me? Naruto had a tick mark on his head. Ow! Konohamaru yelled at the boy. I didn't trip you, you little brat. And gestured with a finger. Naruto smiled smugly at him, saying, you can't call me that. I'm the honorable grandson of the third Hokage, I just did. Honorable grandson, was yelled by someone after Naruto heard footsteps. A man wearing sunglasses and a bandana bearing Konoha's symbol suddenly emerged through the doorway, first glancing down at Konohamaru and then at Naruto. You, ruffian, what are you doing with honorable grandson? Naruto gave a shrug. Konohamaru looked up at the man and whimpered, nothing. So who are you he said, Ebisu. Sensei. Do I have to go now? And Ebisu gave him a nod. Together with his teacher, Konohamaru said, of course, now let's go. A-N. Konohamaru will not learn the sexy jutsu from Naruto because he did not invent it. When Naruto arrived at the academy the following month, he sat next to Sasuke, and Sakura sat next to him. Today was the day they received their Genin teams. She was early for the event. While waiting for Iruka to arrive, Naruto was blowing a lock of hair away from his eyes, and Sasuke was ignoring Sakura's advances by striking his new, brooding pose, as Naruto and Itachi called it. Naruto was on the verge of falling asleep when Hinata entered the room. The girls were envious of Hinata since she was more mature than they were, and the boys, with the exception of Naruto and Sasuke, gaped at her when they saw her without her coat. She walked sheepishly to Naruto, ignoring the catcalls and wolf whistles. The Namikaze gave her a smile. He remarked, "Hey Hina-chan, I see you got rid of that coat, you look prettier without it." Hinata nodded and flushed angrily. Naruto gave her his signature smile and said, "Thank you, Naruto-kun." Iruka smiled as he cleared his throat, indicating the students' undivided attention. "Okay, today is the day at last. Today is the day you become full-fledged shinobi. But let me tell you this. Forget about your little crushes that are far beyond your reach. The shinobi world is harsh and cold. Silly crushes won't get you anywhere. In the shinobi world, you are expected to kill, fight, and ultimately die for your country and your beliefs." Iruka paused and saw that some students were staring at the ground in concentration, while others were wide-eyed. "But you will have friends and allies along the way, making things a lot less harsh than it really is, but one day your friend may be your enemy. So if any of you think that you don't have what it takes to be a shinobi, hand me your hite, Atesh and leave." Iruka grinned when he saw that nobody was approaching. "Okay, so let's get started. Team 1 will be consisted of..." Naruto turned to Sasuke because he was too excited to listen. "Hey, Sasuke, whose team you think we'll be on?" Sasuke gave a shrug. Sakura then noticed this opportunity to sneak up on Sasuke's shoulder and asked, "Who knows? Naruto Yubaka, nobody knows what team they'll be on until Iruka Sensei calls them, right Sasuke-kun?" Sasuke turned to face her, looking bored. Naruto and Hinata laughed as Sakura scowled and slowly pulled away, saying, "Sorry, I didn't catch that." Team 7 will consist of Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto raised his head. Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto and Sasuke embraced each other. And Sakura Haruno. Sakura squealed and yelled, "True love conquers all," as Sasuke and Naruto were criticized. Hinata was crying as she said, "I don't get to be on Naruto-kun's team. Your Jonin sensei will be Itachi Uchiha." Sasuke and Naruto glanced up once more, then turned to smile at one another. Sakura found the interaction between Naruto and Sasuke puzzling. How is Itachi Uchiha known to that baka Naruto? He probably doesn't know him personally, but I'm fairly certain Sasuke-kun told him. As Kiba was jumping up and down, Naruto growled ferociously at his name. Team 8 will be consisted of Hinata Hyuga, Shino Aburame, and Kiba Inuzuka. Hinata winced, saying, "Yahoo Akamaru, we get to be on Hina-chan's team." She only allowed Naruto, Sasuke, Kurenai, Itachi, Yokumaru, and her late mother to call her that, but never Kiba. She turned to Naruto, who smiled sadly at her and mouthed the words, "I'm sorry." Hinata also smiled sadly. Hinata looked up and said, "And your Jonin sensei will be Kurenai Yuhi." At least she had some positive news, albeit a small one. Team 9 is still cycling from last year, so Team 10 will consist of Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara, and Choji Akamichi. Your Jonin sensei will be Asuma Sarutobi. Ino was disappointed that she was not selected for Naruto-kun's team. Instead, she is now on a team with a lazy Nara and a fat ass, though she won't say it for fear of angering an Akamichi. "Okay class, your senseis will meet with you after lunch, so get out of here and eat." At Jonin's lounge, Itachi chewed some of his pocky and sighed as he sat on the couch, thinking about the brown-haired beauty he had met. Ida-chan has a crush. Ida-chan has a crush. Asuma and the other Jonin senseis, along with Kakashi, were smiling at him when he looked up. "Do not," he defended himself. Kurenai remarked, "Do too. Then why are you blushing?" Itachi attempted to conceal his blush despite the fact that his Jonin attire was insufficient. There was a "yeah right" look on everyone's faces as he said, "Okay, maybe a small crush, emphasis on small. So enough about me. How about our students? Do you think Hinata will work well with Kiba, Kurenai?" "She isn't very fond of him," Itachi replied, and Kurenai sighed. "I'll have to work something out later. So what about that Sakura girl? Do you think she'll make good assassin material?" "If all things sure, Hinata would make a better one than her. Itachi gave a headshake. No, Hinata is too soft-hearted, she's better at tracking anyway, and if Sakura isn't cut out to be an assassin, I'll let Hokage Sama know. Then Kakashi took the initiative. But I don't see why Hokage Sama wouldn't let me be the sensei of your team. I would have made a great sensei. The weasel gave a chuckle. Probably because of your constant tardiness. Itachi and the other Jonin senseis rose after Kakashi gave a face fault. Scarecrow was left in the dark as they all departed after saying, "Sorry Kakashi, but we have to go now, our teams await." Sakura was in the classroom with Naruto and Sasuke. Sakura was staring at Sasuke. Naruto was conversing with Hinata as much as he could, and Sasuke was brooding. Itachi greeted his team as the Jonin senseis entered abruptly. As he disappeared in a cloud of smoke, Sakura went outside to reach the roof, while Sasuke and Naruto grinned. Team 7, the roof, in 4 minuets. Body flicker. You know it, Hinata's face was kissed on the cheek by Naruto, and her body flickered away. On the roof, Sakura arrived at the roof in good time, and she believed she would be the first person there besides her sensei to reach the top. She saw Itachi, Naruto, and Sasuke chatting and laughing when she reached the roof. Sakura stormed up to Naruto because she was upset with him. She insisted, "Naruto. Baka, how did you get up here so fast?" Naruto shrugged as he looked up at her from where he was sitting. Body flicker jutsu, it comes in handy. Itachi cleared his throat just as Sakura was about to scream. "Okay, Sakura, sit down. We'll introduce ourselves." Sakura said, "Why don't you demonstrate the process for us, sensei?" Itachi gave a nod. "I'm Itachi Uchiha. I like my brothers and my surrogate father. I hate the man who destroyed my clan and people who threaten my brothers. My goal is to re-establish the Uchiha police force and rebuild the clan." Itachi gave Naruto a signal. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I like my brothers, my dad, and Hina-chan. I dislike those who are too shallow to see people for who they are, and people who hate other for what they have. My dream is to establish a new clan with my Kekkei Genkai, and be Hokage." Sakura chuckled arrogantly and said, "You don't have a bloodline limit, you baka." Naruto laughed in response. "Shows what you know." The kunoichi with the pink hair turned to face Itachi. "Itachi. Sensei, does Naruto really have a bloodline limit?" Itachi smiled. "Yes, he does. He's the last of his clan, like Sasuke and I." Sakura simply gave Naruto him, the last of his clan, a suspicious glance. "That baka doesn't have that title. Only Sasuke-kun does." "Pinky, I said you're next." Sakura glanced up at the sensei of Uchiha. "Oh, sorry. My name is Sakura Haruno, and I like." Turns to Sasuke and blushes. "And I don't like Ino.Pig and Naruto." "Baka?" Naruto displayed a "why me?" expression. "And my objectives center on." Turns to Sasuke and blushes. "A fangirl. Nothing I can't fix," Itachi sighed. "All right, Sasuke, next up is you." "My name is Sasuke Uchiha, and I enjoy my brothers, Hina-chan, and my surrogate father," Sasuke said, nodding. "My objective is to restore the Uchiha clan and establish a clan alliance with a future clan because I detest the man who destroyed it." Itachi nodded and said, "All right, we'll start our training exercise tomorrow." Before leaving, he began, "And one more thing, don't eat breakfast, you'll throw it back up." After meeting her squad, Sakura hurried straight to Ino's house. She pulled up to her house and rang the doorbell, and a man with sandy, blonde hair answered. "Ah, Sakura, are you here to see Ino-chan?" Inoichi grinned. "Did he ask?" Inoichi nodded. "Okay, I'll go get her." Sakura nodded. "Yeah, I need to talk to her about something." Sakura watched as the head of the Yamanaka clan went upstairs to fetch his daughter and then came back with Ino. He said, "I'll leave you two alone," and left. "What is it now, forehead?" Ino asked, placing her hands on her hips. "I was planning the marriage between Naruto-kun and me in the future." She deadpanned. "Look, whatever, but I need to talk to you about him, it's very important." She led Sakura to her room, saying, "Okay, come to my room." The room was clean and well kept, with soft purple walls. Sakura saw that she had a variety of stuffed animals on her bed, including an orange nine-tailed chibi fox called Naru-chan. Ino grabbed her Naru-chan and looked up at Sakura, who was sitting at her desk with a picture of the graduating class on it. Ino had hearts around Naruto, forehead next to Sakura, and bitch next to Hinata. "So, what do you want to talk about?" she inquired. Well, I learned something new and strange about Naruto, Sakura said as she sat on her bed. Ino focused entirely on Sakura, saying, really, what? Tell me. Gazing at her, Sakura said, he has a bloodline limit. Achoo. Well, you don't have a cold, do you, Naruto? Sasuke inquired. After taking a shower and going to bed, the two had completed their sparring sessions with Itachi and Yokomaru. As he fell asleep, Naruto said, nah, I think some chick must be talking about me. How accurate he was. The following morning. I'll be at the training ground 20 shortly, okay, oh tutos. With a hint of murderous intent, Itachi said, remember, don't eat breakfast. Naruto turned to Sasuke and smiled before his body flickered away. So, will we be having cereal or waffles? When Sakura got to training ground 20, she saw that Naruto was sound asleep and Sasuke was sitting against a tree, brooding. To Sasuke's surprise, she chose to approach Naruto. She nudged him a little. Naruto, no response. Naruto. She shook him slightly, but he didn't answer. She then started shaking him violently awake, saying, Naruto, baka. Sakura released Naruto after he jolted awake. Hey, what? What you want, Sakura? Before Itachi. Sensei made the decision to come out of hiding. I was attempting to sleep. Itachi grinned from where he was hiding in the bushes. Baka, what are you, whatever, anyway, tell me about your Kekkei Genkai. When Sasuke and Naruto exchanged glances, Naruto shrugged and said, nope, you'll find out later. Sakura's head was marked with a tick. Why won't you tell me? With a sigh, Naruto said, you'll find out later. Sakura screamed and was about to beat Naruto to the ground when Itachi appeared and instructed everyone to assemble around the 3 tree stumps that were used for target practice. Itachi rang 2 bells and said, all right, Gakis. I'll be giving the test today. If you can take one of the 2 bells I have here, you'll be able to eat lunch and remain with the team. Sakura said, Itachi. Sensei, what if we don't get a bell? Sakura froze as Itachi smiled and said, you'll be sent back to the academy. She turned to face Sasuke, but Naruto did not even bat an eye. So now, if you are all done with the questions, let's get started. Hey Naruto, I have an idea. Sasuke approached Naruto after the shinobi all fled into the surrounding woods. Sakura saw Naruto leap down from wherever he was and start to confront Itachi after hiding in the woods until she had a clear view of the field where Itachi was standing patiently. All right, I own those bells, Itachi. Nissan. Itachi sneered as he said, oh really? Let's investigate, Naruto.kun. Naruto pulled a bone sword from his shoulder and assumed his stance after taking off his battle kimono, which exposed his upper body. Sakura's expression was one of mild awe and disgust. She was awed by the fact that she had finally seen his Kekkei Genkai, and she was disgusted by what it was. Additionally, a different pair of eyes that none of the genin knew widened their eyes and backed away, thinking, I'm not the last one after all. Does that mean he lied to me? The Shikatsumiyaku, I see. Itachi smiled as Naruto charged forward. The blonde genin stabbed the Uchiha Sensei several times, but Itachi avoided them all without using his Sharingan. Naruto then used Sky Fang Art, Rabbit Attack, to stab Itachi in the heart, leaving him in mild shock. Before his move could connect, Itachi grabbed his wrist, squeezed it enough for Naruto to drop his bone sword, and then threw him into the air. As Naruto recovered from his fall behind him, Sasuke thought, now's my chance. Itachi was preoccupied, so he threw a punch, but to his dismay, Itachi caught it. Itachi joked, foolish little brother, as Sasuke withdrew his punch. Sasuke then tried to fight him with taijutsu. He leapt to his feet and kicked Itachi in the head, but Itachi grabbed his foot and threw him around. Sasuke regained his balance and knelt down, kicking Itachi in the chin to send him flying, but to his dismay, a shadow clone. Doden. Headhunter Jutsu. Success. Itachi got up and grinned as he felt 2 hands seize his ankle and pull him beneath. When Sakura saw her Sasuke-kun fall, she became alarmed and waited for him to rise again. When he didn't, Sakura rushed out of her hiding place and approached Sasuke, saying, Sasuke-kun, are you okay? Ekkk. When she saw Sasuke buried from the neck up, she fainted, thinking he had been decapitated. Itachi and Sasuke both started to perspire. I'm going to have to fix that, fast, Itachi thought. When Sakura screamed, Naruto leapt down from the tree and laughed uncontrollably. He then approached Sasuke and smiled, saying to his brothers, that was priceless. As he created a shadow clone, Naruto laughed again and said, here, let's get you out. The clone switched with Sasuke using substitution and then started to poof away, but just as they were coming up with a plan, a timer went off. "Time's up. Grab Sakura and tie her to the training post," Itachi said as his body flickered between them. Sakura realized that Naruto, Baka, Sasuke-kun, and her sensei were all staring at her when she regained consciousness. Itachi was the first to say, "Welcome back to the land of consciousness, concession stands are to your left," and, before Sasuke elbowed him in the arm. Sakura made the decision to go up until she realized she was immobile. She saw the rope encircling her body and realized she was suspended in midair. "What am I doing here, tied to this post?" she yelled. Itachi gasped. "You never made an attempt to get a bell. Sasuke and Naruto were the only ones, and plus your skills and sense of teamwork is dropped. Dead pitiful," he stated bluntly. "But Naruto, Baka and Sasuke-kun didn't even get a bell, or did they work together?" Sakura said, looking down. "From what I saw, Naruto, Baka got in Sasuke-kun's way." Sakura then looked up at Itachi with pained eyes. "I appreciate that you don't insult my Uchiha like that. He is not a Baka, and he could easily be smarter than me if he wanted to," Itachi said, radiating a sense of murderous intent. They devised a plan to obtain the bells, and Naruto didn't stand in Sasuke's way. If they hadn't run out of time to carry out the plan completely, they would have succeeded. "You had the opportunity to enter covertly at any moment and take the bells away from me, but you chose not to. Actually, all you did was scream like the young child you are." Sakura looked down in shame, thinking that aside from screaming and fainting, she hadn't done much for the team. With a sigh, Itachi turned to face her and asked, "Are you ready to work on this team now that you are aware of your mistakes? Are you prepared to devote yourself to being a kunoichi? Are you prepared to be a serious and proud leaf ninja and let go of your foolish obsession with my younger brother, Sasuke?" Sakura's eyes were full of resolve as she raised her head and said, "Hi, yes," she replied. Sakura asked, "Itachi, Sensei, you said that Naruto was your Uchiha?" Itachi smirked and said, "You all pass, welcome to Team 7. Naruto and Sasuke smiled as Itachi cut the ropes and let Sakura down. He then handed them lunchboxes and they sat down to eat. "However, isn't Sasuke-kun also your brother?" Itachi chuckled. "Of course he is, and Naruto is my brother too. The only thing that is keeping us from becoming real brothers is blood." Sakura nodded, finally understanding why Naruto continued to refer to Itachi as Nissan, despite the fact that they were unrelated. Sakura thought of another question. "Itachi, Sensei, what is the purpose of this squad? I am aware that Pig's squad is capturing and questioning, while Hinata's squad is tracking, but what about us?" Itachi took a bite out of his pocket and said, "Simply, escorts and assassination. Okay, you guys are dismissed. Tomorrow we'll begin our first mission, be at the Hokage Tower at 800 hours. With that, Naruto, and Sasuke's bodies flickered away, leaving Sakura alone. Itachi smirked as he saw how pale Sakura was. In the interim, his master stood up and said, "Report, Kimimaro," as a sickly-looking young man with white hair, a battle kimono with shinobi pants, and 2 red dots on his forehead bowed to him. "I sincerely hope your mission was successful," he said in a slick manner. Kimimaro Kagaya gave a bow. "Hi, your vessel was training with his Genin sensei and teammates. He hasn't used the Sharingan, so he must not have obtained it." Kimimaro bowed and left, contemplating how he could meet up with his relative from Konoha, as his master's yellow eyes slid open and glared into his sickly soul. "I see, now be gone. Sunshine is in position. Do you copy, Weasel? This is Fishcake, Weasel. Are you in your place? Hi, I've located the target, roughly 30 feet from me and Blossom. I see, Blossom, 0.in on the target, Roger." Sakura radioed in, "Fishcake, the target is on the run," and jumped out of her hiding place to catch the target, the daimyo's wife's cat, Tora, who hissed and fled upon seeing her. "It's on its way to you. Go ahead and register that." Tora attempted to escape after Naruto leapt from his hiding place and used some bones to create a makeshift cage around the cat, but Naruto had already covered it with his battle kimono, suffocating it, until it chose to give up, of course. "This is Fishcake," Naruto radioed to his team. "The cat has been secured. Sunshine, bring the cage." Itachi and Sakura approached them after Naruto lifted the cat out of his hiding place and placed it inside the cage. "Mission success. Let's go and report to the Hokage." The 3 Genin nodded, and body flickered away. When Team 7 encountered Team 8 on their way back to the Hokage Tower, Naruto rushed over to Hinata right away and exclaimed, "Hina-chan, how did your mission go?" Hinata blushed slightly when he asked her. Naruto scowled as she replied, "Well, we went out to the farms pulling weeds and such." "That sounds so dull. Why are our missions so dull?" he yelled into the air. Itachi placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder and said, "Because, you're only rookie Genin, you've been out of the academy for only 5 months." Hinata laughed and Kiba snorted at Naruto, and Sakura narrowed her eyes in response. "You have 2 boys fighting over you, Hinata, damn you," she thought. "Oh no, she might try to take Sasuke-kun away from us," inner Sakura concluded. "That's only because she's a Hyuga. I bet she has boys swarming all around her." "What a bitch." Sasuke waved a hand at Sakura as she snapped out of her reverie and saw the joined teams at the Hokage Tower's entrance. "Yo, are you coming or not, Sakura?" Sakura glanced at him as he asked, "Coming, Sasuke-kun." Kurenai observed a shift in her Genin's behavior as they ascended the tower. Shino remained uninterested, Hinata was engaging in open conversation with Naruto, and Kiba was staring at the two, primarily Naruto. She even heard him growl whenever Hinata referred to him as Naruto-kun, and Naruto referred to Hinata as Hina-chan. When they finally arrived at the Hokage's office, Kurenai and Itachi took the stage. "Mission success, we've delivered Tora to its owner and received payment," Itachi stated. "Mission accomplished, we finished pulling the weeds for Door 1. Sans garden, and received payment," said Kurenai. "Okay, we have some more missions for Team 7, like gardening, painting a house, and babysitting," the Hokage said, nodding as he turned to face Iruka, who was searching through files. In exasperation, Naruto snarled, "Grr. We've been doing D-rank missions for 5 months, and I'm so over them. At the very least, I want a C rank," Naruto concluded. With a sigh, Iruka said, "All right, how about this? An escort mission to Wave Country with a C rank. You only need to keep the client safe from robbers and bandits. Would you like this?" With a sigh, Naruto closed his eyes and gazed up at Itachi with excitement. "We'll take it." "Yada!" was yelled by Naruto, while Sasuke grinned and Sakura scowled at him for his enthusiasm, while Hinata laughed. When the Anbu at the door opened it and saw a middle-aged civilian man holding a bag of tools on his back and some sake in his hands, Sarutobi nodded and said, "Bring in the client." He glanced at Team 7 and furrowed his brows. "Well, what is this? Do I receive a group of weak brats? The dotted blonde is particularly feeble." With his Sharingan spinning wildly, Itachi glared at the man before Hinata and his team could unleash their fury on him. "I'll let you know that my team isn't weak," he said. "We'll be more than capable of protecting you because my team has been preparing for this kind of mission." He swallowed and Tazuna's eyes shifted uneasily. "I'm not buying it." After letting out a sigh, Itachi thought of a solution. "How about we bring one more person along? If that is okay with you, Hokage." "Sama," he said, turning to face the Hokage. "Of course," said Sarutobi, nodding, "but who will you bring?" Turning to face Kurenai, Itachi said, "Kurenai-san, I was wondering if you'd let me borrow Hina-chan for this mission. I'll be sure to bring her back in one piece." Kurenai glanced down at Hinata, who nodded resolutely before turning to face Itachi and threatening, "Okay, but you better make sure she comes back safely or I'll castrate you." With a nervous nod, Itachi said, "Okay, meet at the gates in 1 hour, pack everything you'll need." Team 7 and Hinata body flickered off after that. She knows she will hold up to that threat. No, promise. When Naruto and Sasuke got home and entered, they saw Yokumaru sitting on the couch looking bored. Naruto approached him and said, "Hey, 2-san. We received a mission with a C rating." With his blood-red eyes, Yokumaru gazed at him and said, "No shit?" he asked. Naruto nodded. Yokumaru smiled. "Finally. Oh well, I was going to go see the old man about that tomorrow." "Oh yeah, I gotta go. I need to pack." Naruto nodded and proceeded to his and Sasuke's room. "When he returns, I'll have to teach him that jutsu," Yokumaru said with a warm smile as he looked at his fang necklace. Alongside Hinata after finishing her packing 20 minutes ahead of schedule, Hinata waited by the gates and saw Sakura approach her, carrying her belongings. As she approached Hinata, she said gravely, "Hinata, I need to ask you something." "All right, Sakura, tell me what you want." The innocence in her voice made Sakura grit her teeth. "Why do you play Kiba and Naruto that way?" When Sakura said, "I know you're making Kiba jealous by pretending to like Naruto. You've been using him since you met," Hinata would normally laugh evilly and respond, "You're right, muhahahaha." However, Hinata glared at Sakura angrily instead. I'm not trying to trick anyone. Kiba doesn't even appeal to me. I just wouldn't do that to Naruto-kun, because Hinata blushed slightly. Sakura was perplexed. What do you mean? Kiba always glares at Naruto because he's with you, and so I thought. Well, you thought wrong. Kiba only likes me because I'm a Hyuga. Naruto-kun likes me because of who I am. He would never want to see me sad. When my mother died, he was there for me. He truly cares for me. Sakura snorted and turned to see Naruto, Sasuke, Itachi, and the client heading for the gate. Itachi approached the girls and asked, "Are you ready?" The girls nodded when he said, "All right, let's go to Nami no Kuni." Itachi couldn't help but notice how his team had changed since Hinata joined as they were making their way to Wave. Naruto and Sasuke were becoming more talkative, and on a few occasions, they would flirt, but Sakura was glaring at Hinata with such intensity that she could melt the polar ice caps in 3 to 4 seconds while averting her eyes. Itachi shook his head and said, "The best thing that has happened in this mission action-wise is that the client between Naruto and Sasuke is more sober than he was when they started their journey. I then became an expert at it. A forest could be destroyed by that jutsu," Naruto boasted. Putting his hands in his pockets, Sasuke grinned and said, "Hey, my jutsu could incinerate a forest. There probably wouldn't be any ashes left." Sha. Sasuke-kun knows a super cool jutsu. Take that, Naruto. Baka and white-eyed witch, exclaimed Sakura, while Hinata and Naruto both giggled. Naruto glanced over to Sasuke. True, but the combined jutsus could destroy a hidden village if we wanted to commit suicide by using up all our chakra. Itachi stayed apathetic while Hinata's eyes widened and she thought Sakura and Tazuna did the same. Later on, Naruto saw something strange as Team 7 was heading to Wave. A puddle? He assumed it hadn't rained in weeks, unless. He turned to face Sasuke and Hinata and saw from their body language that they both noticed the puddles. Naruto approached Itachi and made hand signals, saying, "Use lightning blade, 2 enemy nins." "Okay, kids, this looks like a good spot to show you all an A-ranked assassination jutsu called lightning blade," Itachi said, nodding before stopping. "I learned this jutsu from my Anbu friend Kakashi after I moved in with Yokomaru and Naruto." Sasuke sighed, but nodded, as Itachi prepared the seals and said, "Now watch closely, and no using the Sharingan to copy it, Sasuke." Itachi put his right hand to the ground, and the girls and Tazuna watched in awe as lightning crackled to life in his hand. They saw a current of lightning flow away from him to the puddles. And Sakura and Tazuna were taken aback when 2 ninjas appeared out of the puddles, trembling violently as lightning passed through them. Itachi smirked, and said, "Matter of factly, that was lightning manipulation I used to kill the 2. It's Maizu and Gozu, 2 missing nins from Kirigakure no Sato," Sasuke said as he gestured for Naruto and Sasuke to identify the bodies. "They are C-ranked missing nins. Their bounty is 3,000 ryo each. They're chunin ranked and attack in a pair. They're also known as the Demon Brothers," Hinata read from the small blue book she had taken out of her backpack. Sakura saw that it was the bingo book, and she snarled as Naruto gave her the thumbs up. The Genin had mixed reactions as Itachi decapitated the 2 Nuknins and sealed them in a scroll. Sakura threw up her lunch, Hinata shivered a little, and Sasuke and Naruto appeared unconcerned, as they had previously killed, not humans, of course. Itachi nodded to the Hyuga. "Okay, all of you watch what I'm going to do. Tazuna, you can turn away." The Genin, minus Sakura, saw a slight smirk on Itachi's face and took another step forward as Tazuna took 2 steps back. Not only were they ninja, he began as he took another step forward. But they were missing nin as well, chunin to be exact. Itachi got up, glared at Tazuna, who turned back around, and made use of his copy, wheel.I. Tazuna.san, I believe you have some explaining to do. Itachi closed his eyes and Tazuna sighed in relief as they returned to normal. But not my Genin, nor Hina-chan. Sakura was the only one who smiled, and Itachi turned to face the elderly architect. But you do have some explaining to do. If you have ninja following you, this mission is easily A-ranked or high B-ranked, far out of most Genin's reach. Alright, I'll tell you everything, Tazuna sighed. There are rumors that Fugaku Uchiha was involved in some way, and Yokomaru was thrilled to hear that he would finally be able to discover Madara's hiding place. Yokomaru took his usual shortcut to the Hokage's office. Leave home, lock the door, rooftop jump to the tower, and break the window, pissing the old man off. Yokomaru was called to the Hokage tower for an A-rank mission, which is simple. Wipe out the missing nin that are holding up a nearby town. Kurenai Yuhi was waiting for their third teammate to arrive. She was on an A-rank mission with Kakashi, who arrived via body flicker after being told he was 4 hours late, and Yokomaru Uzumaki, the demon fox of Konoha and the Leaf Kunoichi Women's Associations. Must have, single father of 3, Itachi and Sasuke. Kurenai squealed like a certain pink-haired fangirl when she learned she was going on a mission with him. She had a huge crush on Yokomaru because he gained not only for his good looks, but for much more. Sarutobi cleared his throat and said, "Okay, since Yoko-san has yet to arrive she looked up at the open window expecting him to arrive. Before he could finish, his other window, which was closed, shattered into a billion pieces as a certain red-haired demon fox appeared through the window, causing Kurenai to blush. With a foxy grin, Yokomaru said, "Ladies and gentlemen, the demon fox from Konoha has arrived," he said in a MC kind of voice. Kakashi clapped, and Kurenai looked away with a smirk. Yokomaru situated himself in front of the Hokage's desk. "So old man, like the way I look? This will surpass Guy's dynamic entry, won't it?" He smiled confidently as he spoke. "Yokomaru, I had to tell you to stop smashing through the window so many times." "1. Sarutobi shouted. Cleaning his left ear, Yokomaru said, "I don't know, maybe 65,399 times?" He uttered those words. "Well, 65,402 is the number. Remember the Kyuubi festival from last year? Don't you recall those children playing whack a fox?" Yokomaru oohed. "Your mission is to wipe out the missing nin stationed in Asano town. It'll be a 2.4-week mission considering it's a long way from Konoha." Sarutobi sighed, looking at the Jonins. "Damn, demon lords and their antics," he muttered. "Okay, get packed. Yokomaru is team leader," said the third Jonin after the others nodded. The Jonins then departed from the office. Asuma Sarutobi departed the training grounds, leaving his team behind, saying, "That's enough training for the day, y'all dismissed." As Shikamaru nodded and Choji kept eating his chips, Ino turned to her team and said, "Hey, I'm going to go home. See you tomorrow." Ino sighed and walked away. Why did that bitch Sakura get on Naruto? Kun's team. This system has something against true love, that has to be it. Okay. I'll make sure to treat him to dinner when he returns from his mission. Ino sighed once more as she walked down the road to her house. After grinning at no one in particular, Ino took off. Naruto threw a kunai into a bush as they made their way to wave. "Naruto Yubaka. For what purpose was that?" Sakura yelled at him, but Naruto ignored her and sighed as he saw a white rabbit dart out of the bush. "Just a rabbit," Naruto uttered. "Something didn't feel right," Hinata said. "That rabbit was white. That kind of rabbit is only white in the winter." Turning to her, Sasuke said, "What does that mean?" "Come on down." As everyone fell, barely avoiding the Zambato that was headed for their heads, Itachi yelled, "Hey, I expected nothing less from the copywheel weasel, Itachi." A man smirked as he appeared on the handle of the Zambato. Itachi glanced at him. "Zabuza Momochi, demon of the hidden mist, seems like we'll be paid extra for your head." Every member of Team 7 plus Hinata had different ideas as they gazed at the no-browed mist noob.nin in front of them. "Whoa. What's that outfit about? Naruto, this man must be strong because my knees are trembling uncontrollably." Sasuke. "Because he failed. The demon of the mist killed his entire graduating class. I wonder if the leaf Hinata will suffer the same fate." "Oh no, he will definitely kill us. We won't be able to wed Sasuke-kun then. You know who." Itachi turned to his team and triggered his Sharingan. He reassured her, saying, "Protect Tazuna. I'll handle no brows." Zabuza's eyes narrowed. After threatening, he ran through some hand seals and said, "Insults will only hasten your death." He yelled, "Hidden mist jutsu," as the fog grew heavier. Itachi grinned. The situation became intriguing. The 17-year-old pondered. When Itachi heard Zabuza's voice, he stopped grinning. 8 points. Sakura publicly soiled herself. Tazuna shivered so much that he dropped his sake bottle. Hinata shivered at the killing intent in Zabuza's voice, and Naruto and Sasuke gulped. Sasuke triggered his Sharingan as Naruto pulled out a bone sword. The group was now trembling when Zabuza suddenly materialized in the middle of their formation, stating, "Spine, liver, lungs, kidney, jugular, clavicle heart, and the brain." He yelled, in one sweep. But before he could chop off their tiny heads, Zabuza was kicked and sent sprawling into the lake. Itachi then emerged as his Genins, and Hinata turned to face him. Naruto exclaimed, "I. Itachi." Sensei. With relief. Itachi gave them a smile. Naruto nodded, somewhat relieved. Don't worry about Zabuza. I'll protect you all with my life. When Itachi went to check on Zabuza, he was gone. When Itachi turned into water and exploded in his face, Zabuza's smirk disappeared, and he flew to the opposite side of the lake, glaring at the place he had been in. The next thing Itachi knew was evil laughter behind him before a giant Zanbato cut him in half. He looked up to see Itachi approaching him with an Enbu sword, ready to cut him in two. Zabuza deflected the blow with his Zanbato, and Itachi leapt back. Damn, if I hadn't blocked that jutsu with my Zanbato, I would be in pieces. What was that jutsu you used? Zabuza asked with a sneer. Itachi made a one-handed seal while grinning. Clone jutsu. Super explosion. Zabuza's eyes widened as he saw another clone ready to explode when he turned to look behind him. Another clone exploded, and the ground trembled beneath the Genin and Tazuna. Naruto stood with Hinata in his arms. Damn it, Itachi. Sensei. Using clone jutsu. Super explosion right off the bat, he exclaimed. Sasuke turned to face him. Yeah, and also that jutsu eats up a lot of chakra. He can only use it 5 more times before he faints of chakra exhaustion. Hinata started to perspire. Then what do we do? Naruto gave her a look. We'll wait and see. Meanwhile, Yokumaru stopped while he and his group were moving. He said, hold up. Kakashi looked. What's wrong? Yokumaru glared at Kurenai while sniffing the air. Show yourself. Kurenai laughed ominously before a puff of smoke revealed a short-haired woman with a paper flower in her hair, dressed in black robes with red clouds. Kakashi's eyes grew stony. You, Akatsuki. What are you doing here? He inquired. Yokumaru's slitted red eyes glared at the woman. Isn't it obvious, Kakashi? Something big is happening in Asano town. Why other than to send the leaders right-hand woman, Konan, the angel of a megacure? Kakashi revealed his Sharingan by raising his Hite.8. Where's Kurenai? Konan regarded them with indifference. She's a little busy right now, handling other business. Yokumaru's gaze grew wide. You bitch. Konan remarked in a mocking tone. Ooh, that hurt. Kakashi questioned. So why are you here? What's going on in Asano town? Paper seemed to appear out of nowhere, and she said, you'll find out if you get there at all. As they landed opposite one another, Itachi and Zabuza traded blows. Itachi had an expression of indifference on his face while Zabuza was panting heavily. Zabuza made hand signals and threw his sword into the air. Zabuza grabbed his sword as water. Based dragons emerged from the lake and moved in Itachi's direction. Die, Itachi. Sushin. Water dragon missile, I cried. Itachi made his own. Kaden. Dragon flame bombs. Itachi's mouth erupted in a stream of fire as it struck the water dragons, canceling each other out and engulfing the area in a thicker mist. Itachi tightened his jaw. Futon. Gray. Water prison jutsu. As water compressed into a sphere and surrounded him, Itachi's eyes widened. He turned to see Zabuza holding the water prison. Looks like y'all lucked out, Itachi. Itachi scoffed. Itachi. Sensei. Exclaimed Hinata. With concern, Naruto inquired, what happened? Sasuke also looked at Hinata. She replied, he's trapped in the water prison jutsu, he can't escape. Naruto swore and turned to face Sasuke, who nodded and looked at him with Sharingan eyes. Sasuke nodded and pulled out some kunai as Naruto said, okay, Sasuke and I will save Itachi. Sensei, while you give us cover. Sakura, you protect our client. Sakura's cry was, why should I listen to you? Sasuke angrily commanded, Sakura shut up. Now do as my brother says. Sasuke turned to Hinata as Naruto nodded. Lead the way. They saw 3 figures in the mist as Hinata nodded and guided them across the lake to its center. Stand back. After using some hand seals, Naruto exclaimed, Futon. Great breakthrough. As he extended his hands, a huge gust of wind appeared out of nowhere and swept through the mist, taking 2 of the 3 figures with it. Mizu Bunshins. They saw Zabuza holding up Itachi, who was imprisoned in a water prison. Beneath his bandages, Zabuza turned to face them, grinning. He looked around and saw no sign of the other one, so he said, well. The blonde one has skills. Where's Duck Butt? Up here. Kaden. Ultra Fire Bullet. Zabuza had to release his water prison after he saw Sasuke shoot a stream of fire at him. Zabuza was gone when Sasuke landed. Behind you, Sasuke. Sasuke's eyes widened as Zabuza materialized behind him, poised to attack, but a voice broke through the fog before Zabuza could split Sasuke in two. Zabuza paused to see Hinata behind him and turned to see Sasuke gone. "You are within my divination's range." "Oh, she, 8 trigrams, 60, 4 palms. 2 palms, 4 palms, 8 palms. 16 palms, 30.2 palms, 60, 4 palms." Zabuza was thrown through a tree and collided with another due to the force of the final palm. Zabuza saw Itachi when he looked up. To the Genin, Itachi remarked, "Good job, you all. Now, D." Zabuza slumped over, dead, before Itachi could finish, as 2 senbon needles pierced his neck from the trees. As the Genin, without Sakura, approached, a Hunter Nin materialized beside the body. Before she body flickered away, the Hunter Nin only said, "Thank you for weakening the body for me, now I must dispose of it, farewell." Naruto was furious. He was obviously upset that he had only made the Hunter Nin's jab easier when he exclaimed, "Damn her, she stole our kill." Itachi glanced first at the Genin, then at the trees. "Get Sakura and Tazuna, we're going to Tazuna's house." The Wave Village was the first thing the group saw when they got to Tazuna's house. People on the streets were undernourished and had dejected expressions on their faces. The village was in ruins. The buildings were old and mostly boarded up. Sasuke looked over at Tazuna. "You told us it was bad, but I never thought this bad." Itachi said, "Tazuna, which way to the house?" Tazuna was taken aback. "Oh, this way. Let me introduce you to my daughter and grandson," he replied. A stunning woman with long black hair greeted them as they entered the house, approached Tazuna, and gave him a hug. With joy, she exclaimed, "Father, you're home." She was at the shinobi, mostly Itachi. She inquired, "Are these the ninja you hired?" Tazuna gave a nod. "Yup, they sure are, Tsunami. These super ninja are gonna protect me while I build the bridge." Tsunami laughed. "Really? Well then, what are your names?" The Genin gave their introduction. "I'm Sakura Haruno. Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto Uzumaki. Hinata Hyuga. And I'm Itachi Uchiha. Pardon us, but we'd like to stay here until the mission is complete." Tsunami gave a nod. "Of course, let me show you to your rooms." She escorted them to their rooms upstairs. "The boys will sleep here, and the girls will sleep across the hall. Also, dinner will be ready soon. I assume you'll be joining us?" Itachi gave a nod. Itachi turned to his team and watched as Tsunami went downstairs, saying, "Okay, I'll leave you alone, now. Team meeting in our room, girls." He replied. Itachi closed the door after the girls nodded and entered. He commanded, "Everyone, sit down." They complied. Then Itachi sighed and sat down. "Okay, we'll be training for the next week we're here. We'll need to be at the top of our game when Zabuza returns." The room was filled with collective gasps. "WH. What you mean, Itachi? Sensei? I thought that Hunter.Nin. That Hunter.Nin wasn't a hunter at all, Sakura. Hunter Nin don't use senbons for assassinations. And if their target is killed, they're supposed to dispose of the body on the spot. No matter who's around." After giving that thought some time to settle, Itachi said, "Tonight we'll just relax, but tomorrow we start our training." However, he did not say this before suddenly pulling a Pocky. He had just finished when there was a knock on the door. When Itachi said, "Come in," a glimpse of Tsunami's head came through the door. She said, "Dinner's ready." To put it mildly, dinner was interesting. Both girls cheered for their respective boys in Naruto and Sasuke's customary eating competition. But Naruto always emerged victorious and Sasuke muttered something about 5 stomachs. Itachi felt like he was being watched during dinner. He turned to see Tsunami staring at him before blushing and turning away. Itachi grinned. Naruto awoke the following morning to the aroma of breakfast. He also saw that Itachi and Sasuke were no longer there. He dressed and showered, his eyes widening, and staggered downstairs. Naruto descended and found Itachi, Sasuke, and Tazuna seated at the table, with Tazuna reading the paper, Itachi eating his morning Pocky, and Sasuke blowing some hair out of his face. "Yo, guys." Naruto sat down and yelled at them. Itachi remarked, Naruto, finally awake I see." Naruto sighed. "Yeah, well, anyway. Where's Hina, Chan and Sakura? I thought they'd be here." Sasuke remarked, "They're assisting Tsunami.San in the kitchen." Later, the girls came out of the kitchen holding various dishes, and as they set them down, Naruto attempted to lure Sasuke into an eating competition, but Itachi, being the worried brother that he is, intervened, stating that he didn't want them to throw up while they were training. Naruto also saw Tsunami carrying some food down a lonely hallway before leaving after a knock on the door and a few rambling words. Which door belongs to whom? Naruto inquired. Oh, my son's room is that one. I doubt he'll have breakfast, and he didn't join us for dinner, so I gave it to him anyhow, she said. All right, team, Itachi said, clearing his throat. He shunned away and said, go outside to the forest behind here in an hour. Itachi was eating Pocky while leaning against a tree when the Genin arrived. He turned to the Genin and waved, saying, all right, team. We'll be practicing chakra control, he said. Speaking up, Sakura said, Itachi. Sensei? Which kind? We have already gone tree walking. Sakura, you'll be doing tree walking while balancing a leaf on your head, Itachi said, holding up a leaf. Hina, Chan, Otitis, and you three will be fighting on top of the water. You understand, Hina, Chan, that you will be checking their chakra with your Byakugan? Wait, Itachi. Sensei, why am I forced to walk trees while they, the points at Naruto and Hinata, get to walk in the water? They ought to follow suit. Itachi sighed. From an early age, they were trained to accomplish a crucial task. As a result, they trained constantly from an early age. They would therefore naturally be familiar with chakra control techniques. I see, Sakura said, looking down in shame. Itachi shook his head and winced slightly at her tone. I understand, Sensei. On top of the lake, Naruto and Sasuke were engaged in a fierce duel that was not abating. Kaden. Bullet of Ultra Fire. Naruto flipped out of the way and made hand seals as Sasuke yelled, starting his fire technique. Futon. Great breakthrough. Sasuke was blown into the water by a tremendous gust of wind and came up later. How about we switch from ninjutsu to taijutsu right away? As he stood up, Sasuke made a suggestion. With a smile, Naruto said, my thoughts exactly. Ignoring the tired feeling in her stomach, Hinata continued to watch their deadly dance while keeping an eye on the battle with her Byakugan in case they needed assistance controlling their chakras. Sasuke ducked and grabbed Naruto's arm, tossing him after Naruto ducked a kick and threw a punch to his face. Naruto flipped and landed on his feet as he kicked Sasuke in the back, and the Uchiha turned around just in time to grab it before knocking Naruto to the water. Sasuke grinned as Naruto stood up. How's that? He said. With his hands raised in surrender, Naruto said, okay, you win, let's go. When Naruto and the others got back to Tazuna's, Sakura and Itachi were seated at the table. Waving a piece of Pocky at them, Itachi said, yo, sit down, dinner is about ready. Before Sakura broke the comfortable silence during dinner, she said, S.So, Sasuke.kun, how was training? Sakura saw the glance Hinata gave her but ignored it as she asked. Following his ball's completion, Sasuke said, training was fine, I managed to beat Naruto at taijutsu. Naruto let out a grunt. Sakura smiled slightly. She chose to take things one little step at a time because she knew it would take a while for her team to accept her. Anyway, what's the purpose of training? In any case, Gato will kill you all. When Hinata and Team 7 turned, they noticed a young boy in the hallway, the one that led to a private room. What the heck? Sasuke remarked, at least we're going to try, instead of crying like you. Stop talking. Inari shook his head. You don't know what suffering is like. The room fell 40 degrees as Sasuke got to his feet, his face out of sight, and approached Inari. Grabbing him by the collar, he lifted him up and pinned him against the wall while glaring at him, his Sharingan eyes spinning crazily. I don't know shit about suffering, so don't go crying to me, Sasuke began. Listen, punk. Did you have to witness a madman you called your father massacre your entire family? No. Did you have to endure years of nightmares, repeatedly hearing their cries of pain and screams? No. So don't come to me complaining about your pain. Sakura was on the verge of tears as Itachi closed his eyes. Naruto looked at him sympathetically, and Hinata placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder while turning to face Sasuke. As he dropped Inari, who sprinted to his room, Sasuke said in a monotone, Itachi. Sensei, I'm going out. He then stalked over to the door and slammed it shut. Was all of that, began Tsunami. Really? Yes, Itachi concluded. Go away, was the audible response when Naruto knocked on Inari's door. Naruto sighed and said, you might as well open it, or I'll practice the camellia dance on it. When Inari opened the door a few minutes later, her eyes puffy and red from crying, Naruto turned to face him and said, you want to talk? Naruto saw a picture on the nightstand and followed the child as he silently returned inside without shutting the door, sitting on the bed beside him. Your father? Naruto inquired. Was it true? Inari nodded, his eyes watering. That's what the other boy said? He inquired, glancing at the older blonde. Naruto gave him a quick look before gazing out the window. Sasuke. Yes, everything is true. Sasuke experienced severe trauma as a child, though I can't tell you all the specifics. In front of his eyes, he saw his clan of hundreds being massacred. His mental state would have collapsed if it weren't for me, his brother, and the rest of us. Inari's eyes grew wide. How was he able to survive all of that? Naruto chuckled. Inari looked down for a moment and looked back up. What about you? You laugh and smile far more than he does. Well, for reasons I can't tell you, I was hated by all of Konoha, except for a small few, Naruto said, glancing at the full moon. I was treated like trash and scum by them. They try to harm me and pillage our house whenever my father leaves on a mission. Sasuke and I both had to mature well ahead of our time due to prejudice, resentment, jealousy, and hatred. Looking at the photo of his father, Inari looked at him with wide eyes. Perhaps it's time for me to mature. Inari turned to Naruto and grinned, saying, thanks, I feel a bit better now. After getting up to go, Naruto turned back to the boy and said, good night. Good night, Naruto. Nichin. A lovely voice said, it's about time you woke up. Sasuke shook off his drowsiness and woke up, his grogginess preventing him from moving. I went overboard. The young Uchiha turned to see a stunning girl in a pink kimono, with long black hair, chocolate eyes, creamy skin, and curves to die for. Although his blush was still visible, Sasuke shook himself out of his daze and lifted his jaw off the ground. Hi, what brings you around these parts, miss? Did he ask? Oh, I'm just gathering herbs, the girl said with a giggle. I'm a boy, by the way. Sasuke's eyes grew wide. Just kidding. The girl giggled more as Sasuke gave her a playful glare. Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. The answer she gave was, Haku. Haku blushed a little when Sasuke said, that's a nice name. So, do you need help collecting herbs? I'll get them for you if you just let me know what kind. Haku nodded, and Sasuke turned away, blushing, as she smiled and said, okay, sure. Haku turned to Sasuke as they were gathering herbs and asked, are you a ninja? She said, I've seen some people wearing those headbands before. Yup, I'm on a mission right now, in fact. Sasuke nodded and began, with the Hokage, my sensei. My older brother, took a C rank. It turns out to be an A rank, though. Really? Is getting an A rank a major goal or something? Haku inquired. Haku accepted some herbs from Sasuke and placed them in her bag, saying, yeah, right below S rank, there. Arigato. Sasuke.kun. It's alright. After all, Zabuza does need to be in top shape to face brother. What are you talking about? Haku tensed. Who the hell is Zabuza? Don't lie, Sasuke scowled. On a couple of occasions, my suspicions were validated. 1. Only women who have received kunoichi training walk like you, with the exception of Sakura. 2. The herbs you carried in your bag were medicinal for burn injuries, Jayuken, based attacks, and wounds from a clone jutsu. Super explosion. 3. You asked me if I was a ninja, but most people don't give a damn, because they might cause trouble if they find out about a particular ninja. You know a lot, do you? Haku lowered. You learn a lot when your dad is Konoha no Yoko, said Sasuke, giving her the Uchiha smirk. I see, now that you know who I am. I will be forced to defend myself. Haku's eyes widened, and she assumed a battle stance. No, I'm not interested in fighting. I have a lot of questions for you, and I just want to pick up more information about you, Sasuke said. After giving him a suspicious look, Haku put down her basket and said, all right, what would you like to ask? She uttered those words. The point was made by Sasuke. Why are you collaborating with Zabuza? She enjoyed Haku's direct chuckle as she said, Zabuza. Sama trained me, I am his tool, ever since he rescued me. Enticed, Sasuke said, go on. He inquired. Okay. Sasuke shifted uneasily as Haku took a seat beside him. My parents and I used to reside in Kirigakure no Sato. My mother was a stay-at, home mother, and my father farmed. I turned on my Keke Genkai, Hyouden, one fateful day. I made a bird with my blood limit and showed it to my mother. Too bad my dad saw it, but she slapped me right away and yelled at me to never use it again. I've never seen her so angry. My mother was killed in front of me when my dad lost his temper and gathered up other farmers. My father gave me a disgusted look and was about to swing his axe when I killed them all with my Keke Genkai at the last second. After that, I explored Kiri's chilly streets. He gave me a reason to live until I met Zabuza Sama. I was overjoyed. I then made a lifelong commitment to him, saying that I was only his tool to be used however he saw fit. Bullshit. Sasuke stood up and said, "Hey, you're not a tool. As a human, you have feelings and emotions, and you express them. Why do you consider yourself a tool, Haku?" "Because Zabuza Sama is my precious person," Haku said, staring at him. "I will stop at nothing to keep him safe." Sasuke gave her a pitying glance and asked, "Is using a tool related to safeguarding a special person?" After an awkward pause, Sasuke took a seat again and said, "All right, you've told your story. Now let me tell mine. Are you willing to listen?" Haku sat beside him once more after nodding. "It began while I was still a student at Ninja Academy. I was descended from the Uchiha clan, which was a prominent clan in Leaf Village. The Sharingan, our Keke Genkai, treated us like gods. I still led a typical life, with a loving mother, a brother I aspired to be better than, and a best friend I aspired to be more like. I can't say that my life is particularly typical, though, as I was harassed by fervent fangirls and the odd fanboy at the academy. Oh well, that's just the life of a shonen. In any case, my brother Itachi picked me up from the academy on a cloudy day." Sasuke started to tremble. "We stalked in further, until I heard my mother scream. The Uchiha clan compound was empty when we arrived, with the corpses of my fellow men lying on the ground, motionless. Sasuke gritted his teeth and cried, 'The killer, the man who did this, all because the Uchiha clan stepped out of what could have been a civil war, was Fugaku Uchiha, my father.' I ran to my home to find my mom there, lying face down in a pool of her own blood." After wiping away his tears, Sasuke turned to face Haku and said, "It's okay, Sasuke-kun. Sorry for yelling at you like that. Can you persuade Zabuza to join Konoha when the time comes?" Sasuke flushed. "Well, it's just that," Haku said, staring at him. "Do you really think a man like Gato will pay you and Zabuza?" Haku paused to reflect. "I'll discuss it with Zabuza Sama. You might be right, all right?" "All right, well, I'll see you later, Haku-chan," said Sasuke as he got to his feet. Sasuke was unable to witness Haku's blush. When Sasuke returned at noon, everyone asked where he was, and he replied that he was just letting out some frustration and falling asleep. Sasuke also asked for a team meeting, which Itachi agreed to. "Okay, you guys, you won't believe this, but I met the hunter Nin who killed Zabuza." The eyes of everyone widened. "Really? Give us more details," Naruto inquired, growing irritated. "All right, so she's a girl named Haku who had a traumatic past. She later met Zabuza and promised him her life. She considers herself to be Zabuza's tool. Naturally, I assisted her in gathering herbs to treat Zabuza when I first met her, merely to obtain the information I required." Everyone gave a nod of comprehension. "Sasuke, anything else?" Itachi inquired. There was a collective, "What?" as Sasuke said. "Well, also, I asked Haku-chan to persuade Zabuza to join Konoha." "Sasuke," Itachi remarked, "that's not a bad idea." "Nice, but do you think Zabuza will pull it off?" Naruto inquired. Hinata's voice said, "I think they might. I have a feeling Gato might trick Zabuza." "Haku-chan? Haku-chan? You know who it is." Sasuke caught everyone's attention. "So, Haku-chan, Sasuke flushed as Itachi teased him, saying, "Who asked you?" As he hurried downstairs, he said, "Are you going to ask Ayame out, Itachi?" Naruto jokingly said, "She really digs you." Itachi blushed and did the same. "Ah, it must be a Uchiha thing." When they arrived at the bridge, minus Naruto. The following morning, Tazuna's eyes widened. All of the builders were unconscious, and there was also a menacing laugh. Itachi muttered, "Zabuza." He and Sasuke both used their Sharingans, while Sakura simply drew a kunai and Hinata used her Byakugan. With his Kabikari Hucho slung languidly over his shoulders, Zabuza emerged before them. "So, I assume you are aware of the proposal?" Itachi inquired. "Yeah, but I still want to fight you. I won't join a village full of weak shinobi," Zabuza said with a laugh. The battle on the bridge thus commences. Through the bridge, steel clanged against steel. Itachi slashed a kunai vertically, but Zabuza swung his blade and knocked the kunai from Itachi's grasp. Itachi made an all-2 familiar hand seal and filled Iped backwards. Shadow Clone Jutsu. With their Anbu swords in hand, two Itachis emerged and charged forward, exclaiming, "Crescent Moon Dance." All three of the Itachis cut down Zabuza. Sasuke and Hinata were fighting with Haku across the bridge, and the altercation had progressed to the point where Haku became agitated. "Please forgive me," she said, her voice tinged with pain, "but it's all for Zabuza. Sama, Hyouden, crystal ice mirrors." Naruto was soundly asleep just before this incident, but he was startled awake when he heard the front door swing off its hinges. Oh, he said, and he quickly dressed and went downstairs. A samurai smiled maniacally and remarked, "This is too easy. Leave my mom alone, you jerks," Inari said, extending his hand defensively in front of his deceased mother. "Hey, this kid thinks he can defend his mommy, the other samurai chuckled. Unfortunately, Inari closed his eyes and lowered his sword, but the pain never materialized. He heard a series of kicks, punches, and grunts before everything died down with two thuds. The boy looked up to see the thugs, tied by Nichin Naruto. Naruto smiled as Inari said, "What's up?" Naruto knelt down as tears started to well up in Inari's eyes. "Hey, what's wrong?" "I couldn't protect my mom," Inari sniffed. "You did, indeed," after wiping away his tears, Naruto remarked. "You did a great job, you stood up to those thugs. I'm proud of you, kid." "Now, where did my team go?" he asked, looking around. When Tsunami stood up, he said, "They went to the bridge." "I had better leave, damn it." Zabuza swung his enormous sword diagonally, but Itachi ducked in time, prevented the sword from striking the bridge, and stuck his Anbu katana in the word's hole to stop it from moving. Itachi then punched Zabuza hard, flipping backwards as he did so. With a stumble, the Demon of the Mist said, "God never expected someone like you to take such cheap shots." "There are no cheap shots in the world of the shinobi," Itachi said with a sly smile. The two leapt back and started a taijutsu duel. Itachi used a left hook to swing at Zabuza, who blocked and punched him in the chest. Itachi took the blow and kicked the noob.nin in the face. Zabuza grabbed Itachi's foot and swung him to the ground, clutching his face as Itachi exploded on impact. Zabuza snarled, "Damn you, Sweden, Great Waterfall Basin," as he jumped out of the smoke and saw Itachi staring at him with his Sharingan eyes. "Damn. If I were to dodge, Tazuna would suffer the hit too, that's it." Itachi flashed through hand seals as a massive torrent of water sped toward him. His eyes widened. Doden. Mud wall. Itachi exhaled a sigh of relief as mud poured from his mouth and formed a wall in front of him, destroying the waterfall basin as it hit. Behind Itachi, Naruto avoided shining. "Itachi, Sensei. Go help Sasuke and Hinata. I'm pretty sure they're doing worse than I am," Itachi said sarcastically as he turned to face Naruto. "Glad you could join us." Naruto shunshined away after nodding. Sasuke and Hinata were barely keeping up with Haku's ice mirrors. Hinata had a tiny trickle of blood coming from her mouth, needles coming out of her, and her Byakugan was of little use. Sasuke, on the other hand, was in a much better position. He had only one Senbon in his shoulder and could easily read Haku's moves with his Sharingan. Since Sasuke was too far away, Haku silently threw a volley of Senbon at Hinata, saying, "Hinata, get moving. Dance, Bracken." Hinata and Sasuke turned to see who had done this when a mob of what appeared to be bones surrounded her, obstructing the Senbon and causing the bones to recede to the ground. Naruto. Naruto.kun. Smirking, Naruto emerged inside the ice dome and exclaimed, "Yo." When he saw Hinata's state, he ceased his smirk and exclaimed, "Hina-chan," he said as he ran over to her. Hinata's legs gave way as she fell, only to be caught by Naruto. "Hina-chan." Hinata reassured Naruto.kun, "I'm fine, just a little tired, that's all." "All right, I'll get you to leave. Hold on tight." Naruto closed his eyes and made some seals. "Shouldn't we be with Sakura?" they asked, appearing on a different section of the bridge. As he put her down, Hinata inquired. "What good could you do in your condition?" Shrugged Naruto. "I'll be fine, you worry too much," he said, and Hinata nodded slowly, realizing he was correct. "Okay, but be careful, Naruto.kun, I wouldn't know what I'd do if something were to happen to you," she concluded with a flush. Naruto appeared perplexed but smiled. "I should go rescue Sasuke from his girlfriend, then." In a puff of smoke, Naruto materialized beside Sasuke, asking, "What took you?" Half shouting, Sasuke said. Naruto shrugged and said, "Oh, come on, you know you just wanted to spend time with your girlfriend." That jutsu, is he a Kagaya? But I thought they all died, save for that one boy we met a few years back. I'd better finish this, I'm almost out of chakra, Haku thought as he considered the boy who had joined the battle. Hey Sasuke. What? What do all forms of ninjutsu have in common? They all waste chakra. Yup, and Haku's running out, look. Sasuke grinned as he watched the ice mirrors gradually melt. Alright, Naruto. What say you? Whirlwind fist and fireball? Oh, yes. Sasuke and Naruto flashed through hand seals, and Haku's eyes widened behind her mask. Grand Fireball Jutsu, Kaden, Futon, Fist Whirlwind. Naruto arched his fist back as a whirlwind formed from his punch, and Sasuke blew a huge fireball from his mouth. The whirlwind fist intensified the fireball. Destroyed a portion of the ice dome. Haku appeared across from Naruto and Sasuke, her mask falling off her face and her clothes slightly singed, and she smiled at them before falling backwards. Sasuke caught her in time and placed her down gently. Chakra exhaustion. Naruto and Sasuke watched in awe as the combined jutsus destroyed the ice dome. He assured her that she would be alright. Itachi approached Zabuza and aimed his Anbu sword at him, saying, "This fight is over." He took out a strawberry Poke and took a bite out of it. Zabuza was embarrassed that he had lost a fight with some Jonin who weren't even in his 20s. How pitiful that some teenager beat the demon of the mist. Additionally, your whore isn't doing well. Well, at least we have some comfort. With their hair in 1,000 different directions, Zabuza, Itachi, Sasuke, Naruto, Sakura, and Tazuna turned to see a short old man with a sickening sneer, a horde of thugs, samurai, and Noop.nin, and one of those men was holding a certain something. He was dressed in a cheap business suit. Hinata. Naruto's eyes widened. He yelled. One of Gatu's thugs was holding up Hinata, who had her hands bound behind her back. Naruto.kun. She let out a scream. Release her, Naruto yelled. After my men kill you all, I'm going to take her with me, Gatu said with an evil laugh. She will provide great entertainment. Naruto was so angry that red chakra erupted from his body, turning his nails into claws, his teeth into fangs, his eyes blood red, his whisker marks more rigid, and a white mass on the side of his face that took the shape of a half-fox mask. You, scum, I'm going to kill you all. What are you waiting for? Gatu said, stepping back. Kill him, he said to one of the samurai. As they all rushed after him, Naruto killed anyone who stood in his way without feeling guilty, and Itachi and Zabuza, who had joined the battle, eliminated any thug that got in their way. The business tycoon backed away in terror as Naruto cut his way to Gatu, who had Hinata on the ground beside him. Page P. Please? Don't. Whatever you want, I'll do. Return the girl and take all of my money. Gatu soiled himself when Naruto strode up to him and blew out in his face. Stupid. For your offenses against Wave and all of its citizens. You will die because you threatened my loved one. Hinata watched in horror as the boy she secretly loved laughed as Naruto cut off Gatu's left arm. As Gatu screamed, his arm on the ground, tears filled her lavender eyes. Naruto.kun, please stop this. After that, Naruto kicked Gatu down the bridge, and he kept approaching him. Hinata whimpered as Naruto flashed in front of her, from the time they first met in the academy, when they were Genin, and she slipped her hands out of the rope and ran after him, eventually catching up to him. Naruto.kun. Naruto's eyes widened as he turned to see Hinata crying. Hinata, she halted and gave him a tight hug while shedding tears. Please, Naruto.kun. Don't become what the villagers claim you are. Don't do this. This is not the boy I fell in love with, nor is it you. Naruto's eyes widened, his mask shattered, his demonic features disappeared, and he gazed at the carnage surrounding him before turning to face Gatu's now dead body, which had died from blood loss. Did he hear correctly? Did she love him? Hinata, come on now, it's okay. Hinata sobbed in Naruto's bare chest. In the distance, Naruto saw the villagers all led by Inari, and he saw Sasuke, carrying a now conscious Haku, Itachi, Sakura, and Tazuna, circling Naruto and Hinata. As the village was covered in snow, Hinata finally sobbed herself to sleep in Naruto's arms. What's going on? Why did I do it? Gatu is dead, the thugs are dead. Wave and I are both safe. Hinata. When Naruto woke up, he discovered that he was in ankle deep water and that there was a cage with the kanji word, seal, on it. Naruto turned to face the cage and said, I haven't been here in a while. Dad, are you there? Did he ask? In response, "Yeah, I'm here." Naruto turned to see Yokomaru come out of the cage's shadows, his gloves and chunin vest gone. "Dad?" Naruto's eyes widened. "How did you fare?" "There's nothing in a day's work for Konoha no Yoko," said Yokomaru, scratching his nose. "So, I guess your mission was a success?" Naruto smiled. "Yup." His expression darkened. Even though Kurenai was severely injured, and Kakashi fainted from chakra fatigue. With a sigh, Naruto said, "I see. I was successful in my mission. Even so, I gave Gato and his thugs the finger." "I see, so that's why a feeling of anger wiped over me 2 days ago," Yokomaru said, crossing his arms. 2 days? Naruto's eyes widened. "I haven't slept for 2 days." "Yes," the Demon Lord said, wiping his ears. "When you used my chakra, did you notice anything odd as well?" With a raised eyebrow, Naruto said, "Huh? Never mind," Yokomaru sighed. "Just wake up quickly. I'll see you at home." Naruto yelled, "See ya later, Dad," before he came to. Since they returned from the bridge, Hinata had remained by Naruto's side. She felt terrible that he had to use that strange chakra to save her, and it was even worse when he had to kill in order to do so. A soft moan jolted Hinata out of her reverie, and when Naruto's eyes slowly opened, her eyes watered. The blonde Kaguya turned to face her and gave her a feeble smile, saying, "Hey Hina-chan? For what reason are you crying?" As she gave Naruto a bone-crushing embrace, Hinata's eyes were filled with tears. "Naruto-kun. You're all right." Naruto blushed and gave the hug back, saying, "My Naruto-kun." When the door opened, Itachi, Sasuke, Haku, Zabuza, and Tazuna hurried in to see Naruto and Hinata hugging each other. Itachi coughed to get their attention, and they blushed and parted ways. "Glad to see you awake, Naruto," Itachi grinned. "You've been absent for 2 days, Naruto. What took place?" Sasuke asked in a worried voice. Rubbing the back of his head, Naruto said, "Gee, I don't really know." "Well, it's great to see you up, Gaki," Zabuza said, shaking his head. "So, are you going to accept our proposition?" Naruto asked, looking up at him. "Yes, we'll be leaving after you get ready," said Haku with a smile. Naruto's eyes grew wide. "Oh no, I should probably prepare myself." As they all left the room, Hinata was ready to close the door when Naruto interrupted, saying, Hina-chan." "Yes?" Hinata asked, turning her head to face him. Naruto grinned and said, "Want to go on a date once we return to Konoha?" When Hinata heard him ask her out, her heart leapt. "Why yes," was all she could say as she walked out of the room. Naruto saw that Inari was crying as Team 7 along with Zabuza, Haku, and Hinata said goodbye to everyone outside the village. What's causing your tears?" did he ask. Inari continued to cry. I'm so happy that you guys did this for us, even after what I said, and I'm even more sad that you'll be leaving." With a smile, Naruto said, "Hey, don't worry. You hear? I'll be back sometime. Thus, strengthen yourself and defend your family." After wiping away his tears, Inari nodded. Waving to them, Tazuna said, "See you all." The others, including Naruto, waved back, "Goodbye. You know, this bridge needs a name," Tazuna said as her family watched their vanishing figure. "Super Great Tazuna Bridge, perhaps?" "Father," Tsunami slapped her father's arm, and Tazuna merely chuckled. "The Great Naruto Bridge is one example." Inari raised her voice. With a wise nod, Tazuna said, "Yeah, I like that name." Sakura would glare at Haku and growl whenever she called Sasuke Sasuke-kun. The trip back to Konoha was quite different from their trip to Wave. Naruto and Hinata would exchange glances and blush. Sasuke and Haku would talk animatedly, and Zabuza and Itachi would have a heated discussion about different flavors of Pocky. She was about to ask what was going on when everyone stopped, but Itachi interrupted her. A figure about Itachi's height emerged from the smoke as he stepped forward, wearing a black robe with red clouds, a hat to hide his identity, and a ring on his finger. He handed Itachi a scroll without saying anything, saying, "Give this to Sarutobi, and have him tell that clan head." He then disappeared in a plume of smoke. Naruto was perplexed. Itachi's eyes widened. He recognized the person, and his astonishment turned to a smirk before he burst out laughing. Itachi. Who was that?" An old friend, Itachi said, turning to face him and laughing again. Katetsu and Izumo were appalled by the number of people traveling with Team 7 when they arrived in Konoha, the gatekeepers. Itachi signaled to them, saying, "We'll need to go to the Hokage's office." He turned to face Sasuke and Naruto and said, "Otos, come with us. Hinata and Sakura, get some rest." With that, everyone except Sakura and Hinata shunned away. In the office of the Hokage. "All right, so your mission was A-ranked, so you'll get a ranked payment when Wave gets back on its feet," Hiruzen Sarutobi said after taking a long drag from his pipe and letting out a deep breath. Second, Zabuza will not be reinstated as a Leaf.Nin until after a 60-day probationary period because he is a missing .Nin. Zabuza moaned. But since Haku was never a ninja in the first place, she will be reinstated at the end of the week. Sasuke and Haku exchanged a smile. Everyone has been fired, with the exception of Itachi. After everyone had gone, Sarutobi's expression darkened. "Okay, show me the scroll." Itachi nodded and gave him the scroll, which he opened and found a simple sentence inside. Sarutobi checked the scroll for any traps, but there were none. "I'm heading home." On their way home, Sasuke said to Naruto, "So, Naruto." "Well, did he ask? On the way home, I noticed that you and Hinata were blushing a lot. What's going on?" He smirked as he asked. As his face reddened, Naruto said, "Well, it's nothing big, I just kinda asked Hinata out on a date." Sasuke grinned and remarked, "It's about damn time." "What does that mean to you?" Perplexed, Naruto inquired. Sasuke was staring at him. "Come on, it was obvious you two liked each other, since the first time she kissed you a few years ago, and when you kissed her again before we left with Itachi.Ni. Naruto reddened, saying, "Oh, come on. She was expressing her appreciation to me, and all I did was kiss her to make Kiba Teme envious." Sewer. Sasuke didn't buy it. They were unaware that someone had overheard their conversation and fled in tears. Country of Rice. On their way to Konoha to take the chunin exams, a group of people were spotted in a dense forest. One of them began to cough, and his coughing fit got worse. A man wearing glasses gave him some pills, which he swallowed, and the coughing stopped. "Thanks, Kabuto," he said. "Are you certain you want to proceed with this?" asked Kabuto, shaking his head. "Orochimaru Sama has discovered a new vessel in the Leaf Village, so you don't have to prove yourself in front of him anymore." The ill man gave a nod. "I know, but this isn't about Orochimaru. Sama, I want to go there for my own personal reasons." Kabuto let out a sigh. Then he handed him a bottle of pills and said, "Well, here, take this. When the coughing starts, take one of these, but if you don't though and the coughing gets worse, your body will lock up again. Also, don't use your curse seal, understand, Kimimaro?" Kimimaro gave a nod. Kabuto gave him the bottle and said, "Yes." He addressed the others, saying, "Okay, let's keep moving." Kimimaro followed their lead. "Quickly, my brother, quickly." Ino took off running. After hearing what she did, all she could do was flee. Her heart was shattered. That bitch Hinata had been asked out on a date by Naruto.kun. It's finished. Her Naruto.kun will never be won by her. Ino was still crying while she was in an unidentified forest. Until she stopped suddenly, that is. There were a few quiet moments before she burst out laughing. Her laughter echoed into the fading sky, but it was hollow. Itachi got out of bed at his usual 5:30 a.m., muttering about dumb alarm clocks, wearing blue pajama tops and bottoms with humorous weasel slippers and the Uchiha fan adorning the nightwear. Itachi went into his personal shower after opening his dresser to select his daily attire, as he would be on leave for the remainder of the week. When he left his room for breakfast at 6 o'clock, he was still wearing his necklace and a black shirt with the Uchiha fan on the back, along with matching pants. He saw the sticky note on the pantry as he went to the kitchen to have some of his favorite breakfast. "We're out of toaster waffles and munchie. Ohs, so go somewhere else for breakfast." Yokumaru Itachi gave his temples a rub. He pondered for a moment before recalling something Ayame-chan had told him. "Damn those otutos of mine. I swear their training will be increased 10-fold for this." Jutsu flashback. Ichiraku Ramen's new, Pocky-flavored ramen was being enjoyed by Itachi. As they pursued Tora once more, he left a shadow clone to keep an eye on his Genin. When Ayame approached him from behind the counter, the Jonin completed his fourth bowl. Ayame caught his attention by saying, "Wow, 4 bowls already? You must really like Pocky-flavored ramen, Itachi.kun." Itachi swallowed his ramen and looked up. As he continued to inhale his ramen, Itachi remarked, "Yes, it is quite delicious." Ayame laughed. Itachi's face flushed as she winked and said, "Well, I made it special just for you." He ate until he finished his last bowl, got up, and placed his cash on the table. Itachi said, Arigato for the ramen, Ayame-chan. When Ayame called out to him, he turned to go but stopped. Try our breakfast ramen sometime. Jutsu flashback. Free. Itachi grinned. He declared resolutely, Munchie. O's or no, I'm still going to have breakfast. Itachi couldn't help but notice the difference between day and night as he strolled through Konoha's streets. Few people were out, and those who were still in a daze from sleep. A few shinobi were also seen leaping to and from the Hokage tower. Itachi was excited to see the sunrise because, in his opinion, it was beautiful. While Itachi watched the morning sun rise over the horizon, he hopped onto one of the nearby establishments. He lingered there for a few seconds before he was startled out of his reverie by a scent. It has the scent of ramen. He drove quickly toward the ramen. As she made the broth for the ramen this morning, Ayame Ichiraku kept yawning. She made an unsuccessful attempt to remove the sleep from his eyes. She stretched and yawned once more. Today, San simply had to become ill. At times, The teenager squeaked in surprise and turned to face Itachi, who was seated across the counter and carrying his own chopsticks. Ayame-chan? She asked. The chopsticks were merely blue in color. For a moment, Ayame could only stare. She must admit that it made him look more attractive because it was the first time she had seen him without the Jonin outfit. Not that he wasn't already. Itachi leaned forward and waved his hand in front of her face when he saw that she was staring at him. Anew, Ayame-chan? When Itachi attempted to jolt Ayame out of her reverie, her face flushed and she was ripped from her thoughts. Sleep long forgotten. She fumbled over herself and nervously scratched the back of her head. She was in her typical upbeat mood when she said, Oh, Itachi-kun. Sorry about that, I was just a little tired, so, what will it be? He said, what do you recommend? Well, we so far have 4 different kinds of breakfast ramen. One is to help you wake up in the morning, the other gives you energy to last through the day, and the last one is nutritiously balanced, she continued. Sounds interesting, I'll take the balanced ramen, please. Coming right up, she exclaimed as she ran to get his food ready. Itachi grinned. At that moment, he was deeply contemplating his next move. He thought, I have to ask her when I'm done. It might be the only chance I get. Ayame was busy preparing his ramen when he leaned over in his chair. He kept lowering himself until his gaze touched her ass. Before realizing what he was doing, his eyes were fixed there. He blushed and sat back up, motionless. You idiot, Itachi. Bad, Itachi. Ayame slid the bowl of ramen under the Uchiha survivor's nose while he was mentally scolding himself. As soon as he smelled the breakfast ramen, he immediately stopped thinking. He said, smells good. Ayame laughed. She said, go on, try it. Itachi nodded and just got right to the point, but dignifiedly. He returned to his thoughts after finishing. He thought, it's now or never. Ayame then came out from behind the counter and asked, so, was it good? With a note of concern in her voice. She was quite anxious because it was the first time she had ever cooked without her father's supervision. Itachi got up. Itachi grinned and remarked, it was most enjoyable. I'll definitely make this my new spot for breakfast. Ayame was so ecstatic that she jumped out from behind the counter and embraced Itachi like a bear, exclaiming, Itachi-kun. Thank you. Itachi just gave her a hug in return. You're welcome. He gazed into her cold, black eyes. They kept staring at one another until Itachi raised the query. Ayame-chan, I was wondering, if it's not too much trouble, would you like to go out with me to dinner? Ayame's heart continued to race, causing her to flush. Did she hear correctly? Was she a civilian girl who Itachi Uchiha asked out? Ayame was unable to think clearly. She was limited to uttering a single word. No, sadness filled Itachi's eyes. I'd love to go out with you, she said, giving Itachi a closer embrace. Itachi let out a sigh of relief in his mind. His thoughts then turned to what his biological father might think if he discovered that he was seeing a civilian girl. Itachi shook his mind away. How about 8 o'clock tonight, by the lake, where the sakura trees are in full bloom? He responded. Ayame was only able to nod. Good, now you might want to get off now, we're attracting attention. As Ayame glanced around, she noticed a number of kunoichi people staring at her with amazement, incredulity, and jealousy. She released him as she flushed. Okay, I'll see you tonight, don't forget to pick me up now. Itachi gave her a wave. I won't. Itachi's mind wandered once more as he walked home, and a worried expression appeared on his face. If he went out with a civilian girl, how would the village react? How would the kunoichi and shinobi react? Itachi couldn't shake the gut instinct that something negative was about to happen. He discovered Yokumaru was absent when he arrived at his house. He must still be in the hospital. After that mission, he appeared somewhat nervous. The king of all Biju must have been shaken by something. He arrived in the kitchen to find Naruto and Sasuke still eating dinner leftovers while still dressed in their pajamas. Naruto was wearing his time-skip canon pajamas, while Sasuke was wearing an identical pair. Itachi made the decision to share the news. "Hey Tutos, I have something to tell you." Curious, they both looked up. I asked Ayame-chan out. Quietness. Until both of them yelled, "About time." That little outburst was starting to irritate Itachi. "And what do you mean by that?" Naruto gestured at him with a chopstick. "I told you on the wave mission. Ayame digs you. Or did you forget?" Sasuke then made the decision to voice his opinions. "Yeah, anyone with a brain can see the attraction between you two." Itachi frowned. "Well, whatever. Inform Sakura of our training session at 12:30. Sasuke, you should show Haku and Zabuza around town. Naruto, too. Sama wanted to talk to you about something. Stay here until he gets back." Itachi walked away and body flickered around. Itachi was at the training grounds at 12:28. He knelt down and gazed at his reflection in the pond. After that, he turned on his Sharingan. The Mangekyo was created when his left eye tomo fused together. After staring at it for a while, he felt a sting, turned it off, and let out a sigh. Itachi turned to his Genin and got to his feet. "Are you ready for your training?" Everyone gave a nod. "Okay, Sakura, you need to work on your taijutsu and chakra capacity. To be blunt, it's pathetic. You and Sasuke will train in taijutsu on top of the lake. Naruto, do you have the scroll Yokumaru gave you?" Naruto smiled and raised the scroll. Itachi reached into his pocket and threw him a water balloon, saying, "Good, here, take this." Naruto was perplexed. He said, "Wait a sec, what's this for?" Itachi grinned. "The first step in learning an A-rank jutsu." The Genin's gaze grew wide. Sakura remarked, "An A-rank jutsu? No way." "Yes way. And Sasuke, after your sparring session, I'm going to give the family summon scroll. And Sakura, I'm going to have to find outside help, since my genjutsu can be only utilized by my Sharingan and summon contract." Itachi observed their responses. Sasuke had stars in his eyes, Naruto was drooling, and Sakura appeared dejected. Itachi experienced a twinge of regret. Sakura brightened her face and said, "Sakura, there is one genjutsu I can show you." Then she paused to think. "Why are you doing this? Isn't this a bit too much?" Itachi folded his arms. "Well, I'm entering U3 for the chunin exams next month. I need U3 to be at the top of your game." Sasuke questioned, "You serious? The chunin exams?" "Yeah, that means I won't be your sensei anymore once you get promoted." "Yes," Itachi said. "But anyway, enough talk. Start training." At sunset that day, Team 7's training came to an end. The Genin was so tired that she left. Itachi laughed. "Maybe I went too far." Before the date, Itachi went to see Ayame in Ichiraku. Itachi saw that the girl in question was the only person present when he walked. She had a sad expression on her face. He said, "Ayame-chan, Dushita?" Ayame gave him a look. "Oh, Itachi-kun. Hey." Itachi took a seat. "You look upset. What's going on?" The eyes of the ramen girls were watering. "Some kunoichi came in a few hours earlier. They insulted me and spat the food I gave them in my face. They called me the Uchiha whore." Itachi was furious, but he kept it to himself. "I knew something like this was going to happen. Damn it. Perhaps I ought to." She wiped her eyes and cried, "But I still want to go out with you, Itachi-kun." "But, Ayame-chan. What about, I'll just have to be stronger," Ayame exclaimed, her eyes brimming with resolve. Itachi grinned. Yeah, finally, the date time had arrived. Everything at the lake was already set up by Itachi. He had the Uchiha fan on the front of his black kimono. To be safe, he also kept a secret kunai hidden away. He walked over to the Ichiraku residence and rapped on the door. A sickly Tuchi answered the door a few moments later. Itachi bowed and said, "Tuchi-san." Tuchi glanced up and down at him. You don't seem like the type of person who would break my daughter's heart, but I'm watching you," he said. Itachi simply broke out in perspiration. "Father, scaring Itachi-kun won't work. He is a ninja, you know," someone said. The old man's jaw dropped when Itachi glanced over his shoulder. When Ayame came out of the stairs, she was wearing a tight black dress that accentuated her curves and a purple jewel necklace. As the adolescent girl approached alongside her father, who subsequently departed, Itachi raised his mouth. Itachi stood up. Why you look beautiful. Ayame laughed at his anxiety. You look quite handsome, Itachi-kun. Then she extended her hand. Itachi nodded and accepted it, saying, I'm ready to go. As he sealed his hand and disappeared in a whirl of leaves, she squeaked as she drew near to him. Body flicker brought the two to the lake, and when Ayame reappeared, she shivered. Itachi gave his head a scratch. He said uneasily, sorry, that will get some getting used to. Ayame grinned. She released him and looked around, saying, I'm fine. Itachi approached her as the moonlight bounced off the sakura petals. Let's go downstream, there's a bridge there. Ayame inquired, and can we walk this time? The Genin laughed, of course. They proceeded to the bridge, where Itachi produced a scroll that contained food and beverages. They discussed their lives, families, and other topics while they were eating. While Itachi was learning against it, Ayame was enjoying the full moon from the rail. All in all, my life is good. Although my brothers can be quite bothersome. Especially Naruto and his metabolism, Itachi said. Ayame laughed. Naruto-kun seems to be a handful. Itachi let out a sigh. Yes, but even though he may be a brat, he's still my brother. Ayame shivered after grinning. Itachi noticed. You want to go back? I don't want you to catch a cold. The brunette gave a nod. Okay, let's go. This time, they made the decision to walk back. When Ayame started to shiver in the chilly night, Itachi chose to put his arm around her, which made her face flush. Additionally, Itachi saw some kunoichi glaring at the girl next to him, so he smirked at them and pulled her in closer. Ayame released Itachi when they got to her house. She joked, it was a good date. Not bad for your first try. The remark was disregarded by Itachi. Well, he said, I try. Just as Itachi turned, the girl wrapped her arms around his neck and planted a kiss on his lips. His body exploded with fireworks as Ayame kissed him more deeply. She flushed when their lips left hers. I don't know where that came from. Itachi gave his head a scratch. I wanted to ask you, would you like to be my girlfriend? The girl in front of him spoke a single word with an expression that was impossible to read. No, sadness filled Itachi's eyes, but expanded back when she gave him a hug. The Uchiha heir grinned as he gave Ayame a hug in return, gazed into her coal black eyes once more, and gave her a passionate kiss. I'd love to be your girlfriend. The Genin spent the following month preparing for the impending chunin exams, which will be the most spectacular Konoha has witnessed since the 4th took the tests. Over the course of the month, Team 7 has made significant progress. Naruto has learned several new dances, including Willow Dance and Genji Dance, and he has also learned the Rasengan, a jutsu that his biological father created but left unfinished. Naruto has also spoken with Hiruzen and the council, who have stated that Naruto's ancestry will be known throughout Konoha following the chunin exams. In addition to learning some genjutsu combined with the summoning contract, such as summoning genjutsu, ephemeral, Sasuke has mastered the Uchiha family crow summoning contract. By having Itachi push him off a cliff, the boss summon Karasumaru, noting that Sasuke's chakra resembles that of a man named Madara, and has been bugging the young Uchiha ever since. Itachi saw that Sakura had some potential in medical jutsu and listed Dr. Yakushi's assistants to get her started in the medic fields. Sakura has made great strides in the field of genjutsu and learned a powerful genjutsu called genjutsu, Infinite Darkness. Don't be misled. Itachi and Ayame are happily in love, but following what transpired, he has experienced some difficulties in their relationship. D09.ton. Jutsu flashback. Casually walking through Konoha with his girlfriend in his arms, Itachi explained that they had decided to go for a walk together and that he was now taking her back to the ramen stand. They instantly froze upon seeing it. Ichiraku ramen was completely defaced, with ramen ingredients scattered all over the walls and taunts about Ayame dating Itachi. Itachi was right next to Ayame, mentally cursing whoever had done this, when she ran up to the ruined ramen bar and started crying. Tucci then emerged and gave her an ultimatum. Either Ayame leaves Ichiraku's or she will have to end her relationship with Itachi. Ayame ultimately made the difficult choice to leave Ichiraku's house. Feeling guilty, Itachi offered to let her stay at the Uzumaki home, and Yokomaru accepted, but with some restrictions. Without a silence seal on the door, no sex not to mention being touchy-feely at the table. Jutsu flashback. Release. Additionally, Naruto and Hinata went on their first date, which went well until Ino arrived. Ino sat at the table in front of them, and the date was going well until Ino yelled, "Spider!" and threw a plate of spaghetti at poor Hinata. Fortunately, Naruto was able to switch with Hinata using substitution, so he ended up with spaghetti all over him instead. Naruto dismissed it, but Hinata suspected foul play after Ino quickly apologized and left the restaurant, stating something about not feeling hungry anymore. Zabuza would frequently force Sasuke and Haku to spar, and their relationship blossomed after Itachi recognized his younger brother's sword skills and enlisted his assistance. Let's not forget Yokumaru and Kurenai. The demon fox was unable to explain why, but he felt sympathy for the human female when he saw Kurenai's condition during their mission. Instead of fighting Kurenai, he was stuck fighting a foul-mouthed immortal guy and his tentacle rape wannabe partner. When she regained consciousness, Kurenai was shocked to see that Yokumaru had come to visit her while she was recovering, believing he didn't want to interact with her. They quickly became friends after she was released. Then, finally, a week prior to the tests, Naruto became agitated and turned around while he and Hinata were strolling through the village, chatting nonchalantly about nothing. "You are aware that rocks lack eye holes and are not square," he yelled at the 1-foot-tall brick wall that was pursuing them, and it burst into a cloud of smoke, with a childlike coughing sound coming from the smoke. A boyish voice said, "I think we used too much gunpowder, Konohamaru," and then sniffled. When the smoke cleared and 3 academy students emerged, Naruto slapped his forehead and Hinata laughed. He recognized Konohamaru right away, but he didn't recognize the other 2. Naruto said, "Konohamaru, first. I can't believe you saw through my disguise. Pretty clever for my rival," Konohamaru said, gazing at Naruto in awe. "Is that Naruto?" Naruto, the academy girl who matched Konohamaru's goggles and had orange hair, inquired. "Yes." With pride, Konohamaru remarked, "Naruto. Nichan also wants to become Hokage." Naruto shook his head. "Who are your friends, then?" Naruto inquired. "The sassiest kunoichi in the academy is me, Moegi," said the academy girl. He sniffed once more and added, "And I'm Udon, the smartest of the academy. We also form the Konohamaru court. Together, they uttered those words before striking an absurd pose. Naruto stopped perspiring and pointed to the girl beside him. "Right, anyway, I'm Naruto as you know, and this is Hinata Hyuga." Konohamaru looked at Naruto and said, "Whoa, you've won the lottery." He gave him a thumbs up as he spoke. Naruto appeared perplexed. "What? Come on, the curves, the caboose, you've definitely scored big," Konohamaru clarified. Well, both Naruto and Hinata blushed. "In any case, are you guys able to play ninja with us?" the youthful Sarutobi asked, changing the topic. "I wonder if you can, huh?" he begged. "All right, fine, we have nothing better to do, right Hina-chan?" shrugged the older blonde. After nodding and grinning, Hinata said, "Sure, we can play." The core of Konohamaru cheered. "A ninja performing ninja work. Naruto, what is this?" Sakura approached Naruto and the others as they turned around. In Naruto's words, "Oh, hello, Sakura. Who is that, and what's with that hideous forehead?" Konohamaru pointed at her. "Did he ask?" Naruto went white. "Kono, seriously, there's no way a human can have one that big." Hinata said, Konohamaru.kun, with concern. "And she's flat, damn it, she is as flat as a baby." Naruto approached the boy and said, "Hey, Konohamaru." "Yes. How quick are you?" "Very quickly, why?" "You might want to start, I will murder you." As Sakura screamed and lunged towards the young Sarutobi, Konohamaru fled for his life, followed by his companions. Naruto and Hinata both started laughing, but they stopped when they heard Konohamaru yell, "Hey, let me go, you jerk." Get him to stop. It wasn't his intention. After exchanging nods, Naruto and Hinata sprinted toward each other. A man wearing a black jumpsuit, face paint, and a mummy on his back was holding Konohamaru up by his scarf while he struggled to fight back. He sneered and said, "I'll teach you to run into me, kid." A teenage girl with sandy blonde hair pulled back in 4 pigtails and a fan on her back said, "Kankuro put him down." "Tamari, it will only take a second," he replied. "Hey, set him down, Sand Ninja. Must be here for the exams," Naruto remarked as he arrived on the scene, observing Sakura and another individual there, along with their Hite, Atesh. "Who will force me to?" At that moment, a rock struck Kankuro's hand, causing him to drop Konohamaru, and the boy scampered back to his friends. A fresh voice ascended the trees and said, "I am, and I did." A figure descended and scowled at the shinobi in the jumpsuit. "Don't you know who that was?" That was the grandson of our Hokage. A war would have broken out if you had punched him. Naruto smiled and said, Sasuke, well done for saving the day. He got a thumbs up from Sasuke. Kankuro appeared to have become even more irate. Why Ada? Kankuro. Stop. Temari and Kankuro went pale, and as they looked toward the trees, they noticed a boy with a sand gourd on his back, a tangle of red hair, and cold teal eyes hanging upside down on one of the branches. Whispered, Gee. Gaara, Temari. Kankuro, you are a disgrace to the village, the boy said, turning to face Kankuro. Kankuro was only able to nod before jumping down and saying, Now let's get out of here. Hey. Sasuke yelled at them. What do you want? They asked as they turned around. Kankuro uttered those words. You must be here for the chunin exams, am I correct? What are your names? First to respond, the girl said, Yes, and my name is Temari. Then the mummy-wearing boy said, And I'm Kankuro, the puppet master. Finally, the younger boy said, And I'm Gaara. His voice chilled Sakura and Hinata to the bone. How about you? Did he ask? He answered, I'm Sasuke Uchiha. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, too. The blonde yelled. With a bow, the girl with the indigo hair introduced herself as Hinata Hyuga. Sakura finally said, And I'm... Gaara interrupted her, saying, I could care less. He and his siblings left, saying, If we end up fighting in the chunin exams, I'll definitely enjoy our match. Uchiha.san. Hyuga.san. Uzumaki.san. Creepy, Naruto said, shaking off the awkwardness. Sakura was still shivering when Sasuke turned around. Sakura, he's gone now. What's wrong? Gazing up at Sasuke, Sakura said, It's nothing, really. Naruto cocked his head, perplexed. Oh. It was exam night, and in the morning they went to the academy to take the written part of the tests, and Sasuke screamed as he awoke from a nightmare. When Sasuke screamed, Naruto, who was sleeping on the bottom bunk, woke up and hit a steel bar that supported the top bunk out of impulse, hissing in pain as he did so. Sasuke was panting and wiping the perspiration from his brow. What the devil, Sasuke? Naruto yelled. A short while later, the door opened and Itachi and Ayame emerged. Ayame in some revealing underwear and Itachi in a bathrobe. What's happening? Did we hear yelling? Itachi inquired. After shaking off the pain, Naruto turned to face Itachi, pointed at them, and said, I think we were going to hear some anyway. When he shot at him, Itachi's face briefly flushed before shaking it off. That isn't important. He shot back, and when he looked up, he saw that Sasuke had remained silent. Calmly, Itachi said, Sasuke. The young Uchiha turned to face his brother. How are you? Sasuke nodded silently. All right, then, but try to get some rest, okay? Itachi said, not bothering to pursue the issue further. When they reached Itachi's room, he turned to his girlfriend with a lustful gleam in his eye and said, Now, where were we? Sasuke nodded, and Itachi turned around and shut the door with Ayame following. Itachi led her to his room after Ayame replied with a seductive smile, but not before making sure the door's silence seal was intact. The morning arrived. Yokomaru was reading the Konoha Times newspaper when Naruto and Sasuke hurried downstairs. Oh, you're right. Are you prepared for the chunin tests? Yokomaru inquired. We certainly are, father. Sasuke simply grinned as he fastened his sword to his back, while Naruto grinned his signature smile. The Uchiha and Ayame, dressed in some of Itachi's clothes, emerged from his door across the hall as soon as he finished saying, Well, eat already because you have to set out, soon. Itachi was fully outfitted in his Jonin attire. Yokomaru whispered, Someone had fun last night, lucky bastard. The great Kyuubi no Yoko would be the laughing stock of the Biju realm if the other demons found out that he hadn't gotten laid in nearly 15 years. With toaster waffles in their mouths, Sasuke and Naruto turned to face them and said, Midmu hab fwan em last fife? Sasuke inquired. What? Naruto thought he saw question marks circling Itachi's head. As he and Ayame sat at the table, he said flatly. Did you have fun last night? I asked, and Sasuke swallowed his meal. Itachi's face turned beet red at this point. It didn't happen often. The last time, he went face first into his sensei's enormous breasts. Ayame was equally flushed and turned away, afraid to look at them. Ayame wearing your clothes, your messy appearance, and the fact that you two smell like our old pheromones will all be taken as yeses by me. Itachi, congrats on your manhood. Yokomaru slapped Itachi's back and said, Itachi's body flickered off to who knows where. Finish your toaster waffles and come on, Itachi said, turning to face his giggling brothers. With his hands behind his head, Naruto eyed Sasuke as the three of them walked. Nay, Sasuke? He uttered those words. The Uchiha asked his blonde brother. About your nightmare, it must have been pretty bad. He replied. Yes, but the problem is that I can only recall a few details at this time. My only memory is of a monster killing a loved one. Itachi. Was there with you. All of us hovered over this individual. Never in my life have I witnessed so much blood and felt such sorrow. Itachi listened silently, pondered what he had said, and thought about his beloved Ayame. He shivered, which was something he didn't often do. Sakura was waiting for them at the academy's entrance when they arrived. Hey, guys. Sakura ran up to them and called. Come on, you two. The other teams are already in there. She hurried over to them. She uttered those words. Well, I'll get off here. However, be aware that the chunin exams are unlike anything you have ever seen. As he disappeared in a whirlpool of leaves, he said, be careful, keep an eye on each other, and good luck. The team grinned at one another as they entered the academy. When they came to a stop on the second floor, they noticed a disturbance at one of the doors. Please let us pass. One of the strangest genin that Team 7 has ever encountered. He was attempting to enter room 301 but two genin blocked his way. He had a bowl haircut, wore a green spandex outfit, and orange leg warmers. With his leaf hite.8 like a bandana, one said, no way, kid. You are completely unprepared for the chunin exams. Why do you believe you can pass it? The person wearing a bandage said. After closely observing the situation, Team 7 reached a consensus. Genjutsu was whispered by everyone. Sasuke.kun, what should we do? Shall we inform them? Sakura inquired. Like hell we won't, less competition, snorted Sasuke. Hey, you damn fools. The fact that it's a fucking genjutsu is obvious to you asswipes. Come on. Tayuya, ladies shouldn't curse, fat ass, put it away. You too. Everyone's attention was drawn to the group that came in after Team 7. Tayuya, a girl with long, untidy pinkish red hair under a hat, was wearing a tan shirt with a skin-tight long, sleeved black shirt underneath, a purple robe tied in a bow, a loincloth with a yin-yang symbol, and black spandex shorts. Wearing an outfit similar to the girls, the largest of the three unnamed team members had his orange hair styled in a mohawk. The final one was the tallest, sickliest, and thinnest person in the room. He's taller than Kurenai. Really, he wore a purple kimono, black shinobi sandals, and an identical purple robe tied into a bow around his waist. His green eyes had two red dots on his forehead and red eye shadow. What on earth are you jerks staring at? Tayuya yelled. Tayuya, contended the large one. Fatty, don't say another word. The tall one rubbed the dots on his head together and slapped his forehead. He would never admit it, but he liked the fact that Tayuya was loyal and treated people with the respect they deserved. The redhead of the group would constantly insult Jirobo, the big one, because of his weight. Will you two please stop? We're drawing attention, he said, and the entire room was indeed staring at them. The tall one turned to face Team 7, and more significantly, Naruto, but was distracted from his thoughts when the bowl.cut boy appeared. I appreciate you spotting that genjutsu. He bowed and said, I'm afraid I still need training. Jirobo simply nodded while Tayuya hurled a, whatever. When the bowl-cut boy saw Sakura in the crowd, he immediately ran over with hearts in his eyes after letting the team pass and watching them head upstairs. What is your name, miss? He inquired. Who is this guy? Naruto and Sasuke didn't even notice his chakra. The boy's appearance surprised Sakura, but at least she could be courteous. I'm Sakura Haruno, she replied, uncertain of the stranger's next move. Really, what a young name. Would you mind going on a date with me, Sakura-san? Did he ask? Overwhelmed by this spectacle, Sakura thought of only one response. No way. I have eyes for someone else, thank you, she yelled. Sasuke sighed and squeezed the bridge of his nose, something the bowl.cut boy noticed. Ah, Sasuke Uchiha, you must be the one she is fond of. I'd like to challenge you to a sparring session, he said. Individuals who were unfamiliar with Sasuke believed he was an emo stick. His ass Avenger who would never back down from a fight, but those who knew him. I'll be alright. Everyone who didn't know him gasped when Sasuke said, I'd rather save my energy for the chunin exams. The bowl.cut boy sputtered until a puff of smoke appeared next to him, revealing a turtle. What was more intriguing, though, was who was on the turtle. A man who looked exactly like the boy stood in the most absurd pose, and Naruto had to double take to make sure his eyes weren't deceiving him. "Hey Lee. Why would you want to fight someone before the chunin exams begin?" he said, obviously agitated. "I apologize, Guy. Sensei. I simply lost my temper when I saw Sakura-san. Hey Lee. Quickly locate your teammates and head upstairs." "Yes, Guy. Sensei." As he vanished into the crowd, that was all he said. "You three must be Itachi's team," Guy said, turning to the shocked Team 7. He yelled or inquired. According to Sasuke, yeah. Well, I hope all three of you do well on your tests and keep your youthful passions burning brightly." As he disappeared in a cloud of smoke, he yelled. Amidst all of that, Itachi and Ayame were passionately kissing beneath a bridge in the village, and when Ayame asked a question, their lips left the scene to catch their breath. "Hey, Itachi-kun. Ayame. Heim, yes." The Heim extension at the end of her name made the girl flush. "Will you not just be honest with Yokomaru? The fact that both of us are still technically?" Itachi kissed her to silence her. What he doesn't know won't hurt him. After arriving at room 301, Team 7 opens the door. The presence of over 100 genin in the room startled the team, and Sakura shuddered a little as Naruto and Sasuke sneered. Naruto-kun. When Naruto turned to face the source of that celestial voice, Hinata threw her arms in an embrace at him. As he gave Hina-chan a hug in return, Naruto grinned and laughed, saying, "Haha, I'm happy to see you too, Hina-chan." "Kun." Naruto, a blonde and purple form glomped Naruto from behind, forcing him to release Hinata. He muttered, "What now, Ino-chan?" and I'm using that honorific loosely, which made Hinata laugh. Hinata whistled naively as Ino glared at the girl, saying, "So, Naruto-kun, how about we go on a date after the exams?" Naruto gave her a disinterested look and said, "I apologize, did you say something?" Because Ino's face is so hilarious, Sakura tried her hardest not to laugh when Sasuke burst out laughing. As he approached them with Choji following, Shikamaru remarked, "Ino, you troublesome woman, leave Naruto alone." Sasuke casually waved to them, saying, "Yo." The boys waved back, and Ino started berating the lazy genin for controlling her when two more figures showed up. "Greetings, Hina-chan." As he made his presence known, Kiba said, "So this is where you ran off to," with Shino trailing behind. Team 10 and Sakura watched as Naruto and Sasuke glared at him. As calmly as he could, Naruto said, "Cut it out, Inu. Teme, dog bastard. You know Hinata doesn't want you calling her that." His little dog Akamaru yipped in agreement, saying, "Shut it, skinny bones. I can call her whatever the hell I want, she is my teammate." The skinny bones insult infuriated Naruto, who must be slender in order to use his Kekkei Genkai. "She is not an object, she is your comrade and teammate." Sasuke's shout caught the attention of multiple genin. The tall boy glared at the person with the dog as his team watched in fascination. "Offending our clan will result in a hasty death." The Sand siblings also watched. The Kunoichi licking her lips Kukakuku, the Kusa team in the back, was also observing. It's interesting to see how angry Sasuke-kun and Naruto-kun are at the mutt. Team Guy chose to make their presence known because they were somewhat intrigued. Kiba, meanwhile, sneered, "Yeah? And who says it?" "We say." Disturbed by Kiba's comment, Rock Lee stepped forward and said, You have no right to make such disparaging remarks about your teammate, it's really not youth fu." Kiba complained. The always reserved Shino said, "Kiba, that's enough." After the boy simply swore, the girl with the two bunny-like hairstyle said, "Hey, we're all leaf.nin, right? We must not quarrel with one another." "You're correct, Tenten." Lee gave her a thumbs up and said. As soon as he saw the girl who had appeared, the tall man clutched his chest. "My face is hot, and my heart is racing. What's going on?" "Well, whatever." When the Hyuga boy on the team saw Hinata, he stifled a sneer and said, "Hello, Hinata. Sama." Fate decided this argument, it was inevitable. His eyes made the girl wince. Hello, Neji, Nissan." Naruto's eyes grew wide. "You have a brother, Hina-chan?" He questioned why she wouldn't bring him up, saying, "You never told us." "We are not brothers and sisters," Neji said, glaring at the blonde. "We are just cousins," he replied, appalled that the person in front of him would believe that. "Would you all please stop talking?" A new voice said, "You're creating a commotion." A genin with silver hair and glasses, dressed in purple, was standing there. When Sakura saw him, her eye brightened. Ah, Kabuto-san. The Konoha 12 turned to the genin known as Kabuto, as a result of her statement. Forehead. Do you know this nerd? Sakura was about to respond when Kabuto interrupted Ino's question. Yes, and Kabuto Yakushi is my name. My father trained Sakura-chan in medicine, so I met her through him. I am the head medic's son. Then he took a few cards out of his pocket and said, look at these. My ninja. Info. Cards are these. He showed how to do this by holding up a card and pouring chakra into it. A picture of himself with a small chart appeared. I infused them with chakra, and a thorough record of the individual appears. So, does anyone have any questions? Talking first, Sasuke said, give me info on Sabaku no Gaara. Naruto then said, and I want info on the tall white-haired kid. Kabuto nodded, saying, all right. Gaara, who has a complete 0, D, 10, C, and B rank, hails from Sand Village. They claim that he never got hurt on the way out of the mission. I also don't have any information about his stats. The tall one is the Kagaya clan's last member, Kimimaro Kagaya. That's all. Naruto nodded with an unreadable expression on his face. He was thrilled to have discovered that he still had a brother alive. Anyway, I have data on everyone else here, except for those auto teams, Kabuto said, continuing. It is not worth mentioning that Otogakure is a new village. Not worth mentioning. One auto. Genin didn't take it well. The older Genin skillfully avoided a punch from the same mummified Genin, but a few seconds later, Kabuto clutched his stomach as his glasses broke, and he vomited. Sakura hurried over to join him, saying, K. Kabuto-kun. She ran to his side, oblivious to her verbal blunder. This startled the other Genin. How was Kabuto struck? Neji noticed the gauntlet on the Genin's arm. All right, you pricks. No fighting is allowed in this room. Is that clear? Sasuke grinned and waved at her as the room's focus shifted to a scarred Tokubetsu Jonin in a trench coat, accompanied by several chunin, including Haku. With a shrug, the bandaged Genin said, I apologize, I'm a little antsy. Anyway, the man sighed. As the proctor for the written section of the tests, my name is Ibiki Morino. Naruto went pale. A written exam. He turned to see Katetsu grinning and rustling a stack of papers in his direction. No. In Konoha, a man wearing black robes, red clouds, and a kasa on his head landed outside the gates on a white bird, which poofed in a puff of smoke. The man proceeded through the gates, but was stopped by two chunin. Who goes there? Halt, one said. I need to see the Hokage right away after a long mission, the man said, letting out a sigh and running a hand through his blonde hair. The chunin didn't believe it. One of them said suspiciously, we'll escort you. He shrugged, displaying his teal, painted fingernails and odd hand grooves, and said, fine, fine. They took him to the tower, and he stopped to look around through his kasa. The village hasn't changed since he took me away, and I'm excited to see my family again. I've heard that my dad got married again, and I have a sister now, but I'm not sure if she even remembers me. The man kept walking while looking at his hands with a sad expression on his face. Mother, he muttered. Have you said anything? One of the chunin defendants? Nothing, nothing. They arrived at the office, where Sarutobi was reading Ika Ika, the Cage's edition, a black book, and the old Hokage had to thank his student one day. Hiruzen was interrupted by a knock on the door. What is it? He spoke, obviously irritated. Hokage. Sama. A man in red clouds and black robes is here to greet you. And Akatsuki is here to see him? Odd, Hiruzen said, startled. My man, Hokage. Can you reprimand these fools? All right, said Sarutobi with a laugh, send him in. The chunin shoved the Akatsuki in as the door flew open. There were brief silences between Hiruzen and the Akatsuki as the door closed. After removing his kasa, the Akatsuki revealed himself as Deidara.kun. I didn't think you'd return for another 4 years. Have you finished the mission? An effeminate man with blue eyes and blonde hair, Deidara bowed and had an Iwahite.8 with a scar across his forehead and a sly smile. The third's eyes widened as Deidara tossed him a scroll, which Sarutobi easily caught and opened. Sorry, but I got all the data I need about the Akatsuki, All of the current Akatsuki members are listed, along with their known jutsu, specializations, and weaknesses. Additionally, their objectives and the extent to which they met them, Sarutobi was taken aback by the data he had collected in just 5 years. This information will ultimately unlock the Akatsuki's mystery. I'll call the council together, Deidara. You'll stay in one of my rooms for the time being, though. However, if you wish to depart, you have to continue wearing that cloak. With a sigh, Deidara said, fine, fine. Although he was separated from his team and they all sat somewhere else during the exams, Naruto was in a state of discomfort and was at least able to sit next to his Hina-chan. Alright, let me go over the rules. The paper has 9 questions for you. I'll skip the dull stuff. 20 minutes into the test, Naruto was still perspiring on the first question. He looked to see how everyone else was doing and was shocked to see that everyone was cheating, including his Hina-chan. That's when he realized that this test was odd and that Ibiki was stressed about cheating. Naruto didn't know how to cheat, so he did the next best thing. Hello, father. Father. Hun. What now, Kit? The Kyuubi inquired, his voice sounding drowsy. I have discovered the reason behind the first section of the chunin exams, which is to cheat on the test. Please let me know the answer to this question. Get your pencils out. The 10th question is now up for discussion. Your team will fail and be Genin forever if you answer this question incorrectly. The Genin was alarmed by this. Haku gave Sasuke a worried glance, but Sasuke didn't flinch. Sakura was anxious. One mistake would be the end of it. After realizing his trick, Naruto put a comforting hand on Hina-chan's shoulder and noticed that she was trembling. When Hinata turned to face him, Naruto simply grinned. Who wants to go now? Ibiki inquired. As each person raised their hand, Naruto watched as some of the teams departed, his eyes widening as he saw Sakura about to do the same. Oh no, this is awful. Ibiki gave him a smug look as Naruto held up his hand. Give up, brat. He slammed his hand down after that, saying, no, I'm not going to give up. Play as many mind games as you like. Bring the final query. My only option would be to become the first Genin to become Hokage. The remaining Genin regained their courage after Naruto's brief speech. I have a brother. Sasuke grinned. Kiba snarled. Display. I'm happy to know that my clan is still as strong as it was before, both mentally and physically, said Kimimaro with a contented smirk. Haku grinned. Naruto.kun, Hinata stared at him in wonder. It is not your destiny to become Hokage, Neji said with a frown. Brat, is that your response? Naruto simply nodded in response to Ibiki's question. Well, then you all pass. Good work, Ibiki laughed. This test was just to show if you had the skill to be a good covert spy, Ibiki explained. To the WTF looks everyone gave the scarred chunin. We warned you against cheating for this reason. Being a good shinobi means using everything you have to finish the mission. Everyone gasped when he removed his headband, revealing a head covered in holes and scars. But there's a chance the enemy might capture you. To get you to spill your guts, you'll be tortured. He replaced his headband. Now, for someone much more attractive than I am. Anko Midarashi. The confused Genin saw a black ball burst through the window into the door, exploding into smoke, revealing a banner that read, Anko Midarashi, Konoha's sexiest kunoichi. As she came off the ball, Anko said, thanks, Ibiki. The Jonin turned to face the other teams, saying, you're getting older, and there are still some teams left. She uttered those words. We have a tough crowd, there's nothing to it, Ibiki said with a shrug. With a sly smile, she remarked, well, whatever, but once I get through with them, there'll be less than half of the Genin left. While some of the Genin watched indifferently, others shivered. All right, you tiny snots, get up, follow me now. Anko guided them to the 44th training ground. When Anko noticed the fear in some of the Genin's eyes, she grinned and said, this is training ground 44, the Forest of Death. The Forest of Death, huh? Oh, keep me from laughing. Everyone watched as Anko appeared behind him, licking his cheek as the blood began to trickle out. Kiba laughed when he saw Anko frowning. Suddenly, a kunai grazed Kiba's cheek. You ought to be careful what you say. Idiots always end up dead first. The owner of the tongue, Akusa Kunoichi, said, excuse me, but you dropped this. Suddenly, a ridiculously long tongue with the kunai wrapped around it appeared. As she handed the kunai back to her, Anko grimaced and said, gee, thanks. Anko returned to the front and handed each waver a piece of paper. Okay, you have 5 days to get through the forest. Here, take this. What the fuck is this? Tayuya inquired. The claim that Konoha is not to blame for your deaths is a shaky one. To obtain your scroll, sign them now and give them to the men over there. After Team 7 received the Earth Scroll, Naruto remarked, "So that means we need a Heaven Scroll." At the forest's entrance, the Genin regrouped. "I have one thing to say now that you have the scrolls and signed the waivers. Just don't die. Go now." The teams dispersed as the gates opened, with Team 7. "All right, team." Naruto remarked, "We get a Heaven Scroll, defeat more opponents, and support our fellow Leaf Ninjas. Even if some of them are jerks. It sounds nice, however, we ought to assist Hina-chan's team first," Sasuke said. "Yeah, and also find Kimimaro, Nissan, with Team 8. We'll find a spot and set up camp, and we'll set out for scrolls in the night," said Shino. "What? However, I want to battle Naruto right away," Kiba yelled. "Kiba, quiet down, please," Hinata harshly whispered, and Kiba closed his mouth. With Team 10, "Come on, we must locate Naruto-kun," Ino yelled at her group. Shikamaru remarked, "Ino, this is bothersome. Let's just get a scroll and go." As he munched on some chips, Shoji answered, "Yeah, let's just go already." With Team Guy, "There's no use in staying here, so we grab the scroll and leave." Neji declared, "We're going after that idiot's team because we have a Heaven Scroll." Tenten wanted to protest, but Lee remained silent, but Neji, they didn't do. Science. With the Kimi team, "Where are we going, Kimimaro?" Tayuya inquired. "We are going to find Naruto. In any case, why are we pursuing that boy?" "Because he's family." Jirobo listened in silence. Alongside the sound trio, Dosu told his group, "We kill Sasuke and go, plain and simple." "Right, Grass team." The Kunoichi muttered, "Kukuku, we locate Sasuke's team, and give him my gift, Kukukuku." Her teammates gave a nod. Sand siblings, "We are to find Uzumaki's team and fight them and take their scroll, any questions?" Gaara offered. Kankuro and Tamari both nodded. Each team had a specific team in mind, Team 7.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.